We are live, and let me see who else is live. Is it Mr. Benjamin Boyce? It looks like it is. Oh, 2 minutes. Okay. Today I have a bunch of other stuff I want to talk about, but we're gonna watch a few minutes of Benjamin Boyce because he's about to premiere his latest video, and it has a couple of friends of mine that are on it. So I want to take a peek and see how that goes. He's doing his countdown now, so there's like another minute or so, and then he'll premiere it. Then I have a few tweets I want to go over, and we'll see what else happens. So welcome, and welcome Juniper, welcome Chris, welcome Lindsay. Hey.
Juniper.
Oh, I need to change my settings.
That's what you can have it. Jeez.
50 seconds. I hate this countdown because you can't see the numbers. Okay.
Freeze? I may have to. My browser. I'm having for something like my whole screen is giving me a problem. It's like I'll be right back. I have to restart the browser and come right back.
Okay, that's fine, and I'll go ahead and just get this video started. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wokery 101, a college student's guide to surviving DEI.
Disclosure.
That's my friend David and my friend Aaron.
We do run game nights together. We have different game nights. We play different role-playing games. So we know each other outside of psychotherapy and then podcast world. So we might the audience might pick up on a little bit of chummy familiarity that they're not necessarily used to in a perfectly professional environment, but we can simulate the professionalism. But what you two guys were talking about was that you want to talk about or kind of develop some sort of not continuing education, but some sort of paraphernalia that would be useful in a classroom to speak to, I guess, university or college students about how to interface with diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, and their worries about how that might impact their grades or their class standing, and above and beyond their social status, because we know for one reason or another, maybe we can both talk about this, or all three of us talk about the psychodynamics of this training and how that affects one's status, or how it's bound up in how one is perceived, and why that is and what that is about, and then how to navigate that psychologically and socially, and then also professionally, in order to get ahead, stay ahead, and not get so-called canceled.
All right, works for me. Not sure about the professionality of it all. Given the last time you said that you end up marrying the interviewee, but
he is kidding. But he is cute, David.
I totally, I support his message. Yeah. That's great. I honestly doing this because I didn't know what else to do, because the students said, what can you do? Can you write me a letter, to fight these professors? Can you try to demolish their argument? They say, oh, hold on a second, let me just see what you have to say, and then let's see if we can have a conversation about that. But it was hard for me to have a conversation given that I don't know the names of the other professors. And so I think this would be a good way for us to share thoughts about the fact that at this point, even students are negatively affected by the way DI is being taught at university or college level.
And how are they being affected? Just for an alien that beams in, what's going on over here?
Well, a lot of these classes have to do either with sociology. Some of those classes are intro to college studies. So it's the very first time that I have the opportunity to have an open discussion. And yet there is no discussion because they already feel so intimidated that they can really speak about the topic that it has to be, talking about. So that's how, and whether their grade will be affected or not, every student claimed that their grade will be affected, but the semester is not over yet, so I don't have any evidence to prove that. But if they feel they're being shut down already at the level of the conversation in class, I think there's enough evidence to believe that they're at least very concerned about it. And I'm very careful not to be, too much of a snowflake when a student says, I feel, that I cannot speak up, but there seems to be a pattern there, a pattern that I really didn't see before, like 5 years ago was completely unknown to me.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Aaron, so far?
Well, what David is talking about certainly sounds familiar. Students are hit so hard right from the start on entering programs that have been ideologically captured, that they hear very, very powerful messages initially that they feel that they are not in a position to speak back against. And if you were to boil the messages down to their common denominator, it goes something like this. Either you believe what we tell you to believe, or you must be known as a wounder of the vulnerable, that there is no way to be a benevolent person in approaching issues of pertaining to minorities in society other than the very specific pathway that critical social justice offers.
Guess I'll do the latter then. I'm not. I guess I'll be a wounder then.
Yeah, I'm a wounder too.
So here's the thing. I'm not a conspirator anymore. But if I was, I would say maybe this war's kind of sus, because we used to have internment camps in other wars, but now we're playing with kick guns. We're not even kicking people out of school for being on the opposing side or wrong side. So it just the optics are sus, and the fact that Israel could literally win it overnight.
It's so hard for me to tell if it's ebbing or if it's still something to worry about. I think really on college campuses, it's probably still peaking, but it seems like everywhere else, the public's kind of getting tired of it.
Yeah, I was tired. I was tired of it when it started because Israel can literally win overnight, but they're playing games.
I was too. I was tired of hearing how racist all my friends were when I knew they weren't. So anyway, I wanted to share that. I wanted to get a little peek of what was going on. I'll watch that one later. Looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It looks like a good panel.
I think tonight we're back to our sex and social justice show with Anton on Monday. So I think that's going to happen at 8 p.m. Central. I have the link up for that. So tune in for that. And what else is going on? So Rowan did his first live stream last night. He did a panel. And I stopped by. And oh my God, was it wild.
Oh my.
You would think that, like, I thought, okay, because I was like on Flow States or one of those. And,
yeah, you saw me on Flow States. I think, was it yesterday?
Yeah, they were saying how you said you were a Satanist or something. And
yes, I didn't say that.
So then I saw Rowan was live, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, this will be a nice break from that. It's Rowan. At least I'll get some intelligent conversation. Oh my God, there were these two Christian, I don't know what they were. I don't necessarily want to call them fundamentalists, but very wild Christian believers. And it was like 2 hours of the rapture, the world's going to end. One of them thought that God gave out spiral galaxies as a reward for good behavior in this life, and so he was gonna get this spiral galaxy when the rapture happened, and he was gonna take us on his spaceship and give us a tour of his spiral galaxy. And then the other one believed that Jesus reincarnated in Y2K and was living in Mexico, and he's currently there trying to enter the US, but they're not letting him enter. So he's in this river in Mexico washing people's feet, and they started disagreeing, and it got into this yelling match between these two Christians. Like,
that's just religion.
Okay,
So
first of all,
it was so wild. It was so
someone who
great. It was like, I'm like, oh my God.
That's hilarious. I have a playlist for that.
Seems so tame now compared to Rowan's. I couldn't believe this was a Rowan stream. It was so surreal.
Yeah, I have a playlist for that.
I'm jealous to a degree.
I'll put the link, in fact. But these streaming style is creeping into. Oh my God! Did his channel? Oh, hang on. We might even have some more drama. Is his channel down?
What happened?
His channel's gone.
God damn!
What?
I'm gone.
What's Rowan's channel called? Just Rowan?
Rowan.
I had a playlist called Religion Power.
Numbers after. Oh no. Okay. He changed his YouTube handle. That's what happened.
Okay. Give me that link. I'm going to add that to my Religion Power.
Right now. I'm going to put it in the public chat, and I'll put it in the back chat.
Yes.
I didn't notice the.
And he's using. Rowan has his Sam Cedar persona, so he has this Sam Cedar costume, and he has AI, and he changes his voice to sound like Sam.
His personas. They're very funny.
Oh, hey, Lib.
Hey.
Welcome.
I promised to only jump in after you got finished discussing Israel-Palestine, so I didn't scream at you.
Oh, well, we didn't even get started on that, because that was the next
thank God.
To talk about with some Israel-Palestine tweets that I pulled up.
Oh, then I'll just, I guess, mute for him.
Or I can backstage you until we're done.
Or yeah, that's
no. You can rage.
He can endure it like a big boy or big whatever gender he is.
Or you can get.
I mean, oh no. I mean, I'm fine with listening to it. I just don't like. I'm just kind of like sick of the conversation. I don't like. I don't like getting mad at y'all. And
I'm sick of this too. We should just have martial arts tournament instead of phony war.
It's gonna happen. I mean, we're gonna get mad at each other.
Well, but I mean, this is one of those things where you're not gonna like me getting mad at you because I'm gonna call you a genocide denier or something, So
we'll see what I am denying that Israel is doing genocide.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
That's the worst you have to say about me. I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna repeat that over and over, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, you're just like those fucking Nazi conspiracy theorists who deny the Holocaust and like all that other shit.
How about this? I got something for you.
I mean, that's fine.
Let me go through the tweets and then we can see the aftermath. Share screen. Let's see. The Syrian civil war has been going on since 2014, and 500,000 are dead there. And these activists did not notice. Another 400K dead from conflict in Yemen. 85,000 children starved to death. Nobody cares. But if some Jews retaliate against terrorists, oh shit.
I mean, that's just like low tier fucking garbage. Like,
social media is doing for progressives what talk radio and Fox News did for conservatives. It's filling their world with threats, outrages, conspiracy theorists, and ever-shifting targets of anger. This is the one I really wanted to go over because it's some words that have been getting redefined in the wake of October 7th.
Well, I'm sure this won't be redefining words either.
Oh, my phone's freezing up.
Let's see. Jack. A wall is a border between two entities. A blockade, regulation of goods entering a territory controlled by a murderous terrorist group. Mm-hmm. Occupation, Israel fully withdrew from Gaza in 2005, leaving behind a blooming area with the stellar infrastructure of agriculture. Hamas chose to use the area for slightly different purposes. Genocide, the Palestinian population grew by 1,034% during the past 7 years.
70.
Apartheid state, the Jewish state of Israel has had Arab Supreme Court justices, parliament members, prominent military and police officers, leading actors and singers, and leading athletes. Mm-hmm. Colonizers, settlers, the Jews have been living in this region for 3,600 years, more than 2,000 years before the birth of Islam. Hamas, the elected ruler in Gaza, war criminals, a terror group per the U.S., Britain, Canada, and the European Union. War crimes, kidnapping, torturing, raping, mutilating, and murdering over 1,000 civilians, firing over 10,000 unguided missiles at Israeli civilians since October 7th, using schools and hospitals in Gaza as terror sites. Palestine never ruled this region as sovereign entity. Alleged rape is countless well-documented rape and sexual assault incidents, including video footage of Hamas terrorist body cams, testimonies from survivors who witnessed the rapes, rescue workers who found the mutilated bodies. Freedom fighters, see Hamas. War, the preferred tactic by the Arab population in the area, usually precedes Arabs' complaints about losing.
Yeah, that's a
and
bunch of
there's
retard
this
shit.
little
I mean,
poster. This college is having their teaching and discussion, Columbia School of Social Work, significance of the October 7th Palestinian counteroffensive. I wanted to draw attention to this community note. October 7th was not a counteroffensive. There was a ceasefire in place that Hamas broke on October 7th when it launched thousands of rockets, invading Israel and committing hundreds of war crimes. The term counteroffensive applies to Israel's response, not the Hamas attack. This is an example of how they have a tendency to reverse everything. And so those are the tweets that I have to share.
I'm happy for you, Jeff.
Okay. Well, if we have no further response or reaction, we can carry on with the stream.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just it's all horrible. Yeah,
But it's not all
Well,
equal.
no, hang on. Yeah, I was about to say, Jeff thinks that, you know, Palestinians dying is not as bad. So, you know, that's
no. Jeff never said that, but Jeff did say
Jeff implies it. Jeff implies it.
October 7th is not equivalent to anything that I've seen put forth on the Israeli side.
I mean, and that's partially due to, I mean, intentional ignorance.
Well,
then educate me, because I asked Paul the same thing.
You don't want to be, though. That's the problem. You actively.
It's very easy if you have the equivalent of October 7th to offer. Just show it to me.
He has a point that when the terrorists on the terrorists have been fighting for years and have been taking huge losses. So.
Hang on.
The West Bank, and they don't even compare to October 7th. They're in the single digits, double digits.
Well, I mean, okay, sure, but like,
and that's annual.
Why are Palestinians dying in the West Bank, though, Jeff?
No, what I asked was show me the equivalent of October 7th on the Israeli side.
No. But like, so
yes, that is what I asked. I don't know.
Yeah, you can find the statistics.
No. I'm gonna do what you do, and I don't want to answer that question. What I want to do is ask you.
Well, that's the only question I'm interested in, because
the only question
you're accusing me of willful ignorance.
Yeah,
but that's the claim I was making.
Oh, okay. Rather, I don't necessarily think it's willful. I think like your biases are interfering in your ability to critically think about.
And I think the same thing about you. The claim I was making was I have not seen anything on the Israeli side that was the equivalent of October 7th, and you said that was.
I don't care.
And this was an opportunity to dispel that ignorance.
But like, okay, it's like an opportunity, but like. It would be like trying to convince like Neville Chamberlain to quit fucking appeasing Hitler. Okay, like it wasn't going to happen.
Very easy. If we rate October 7th at like a 10 in magnitude of atrocity, show me something that's like a 9 or 10 on the Israeli side. I don't see anything yet. Hamas. October 7th really stands out to me. I'm
not interested in like comparing atrocities, because if I'm going to be real, both Hamas and the state of Israel.
Well, you seem to be saying I was ignorant of some atrocity on the Israeli side. That I was not aware of.
The Nakba in 1948. The Nakba in 1948. The Nakba in 1948.
Okay, give me the worst. Give me the worst. Nakba was the result of.
No, hang on. No, that wasn't the result of losing the war. 700,000 Palestinians were.
I've covered the Nakba several times on the stream.
Sure, and I'm gonna be real. I don't necessarily trust.
Is that the Nakba is what you're putting forth as the equivalent of October 7th?
Yes.
I've already resolved that. Okay,
I'm
not out of ignorance.
I'm unconvinced that you would have. I mean,
But
sure, you can.
I am aware of the Nakba, so it's not ignorant.
I guess my then other question would be, once this is, I guess, all said and done, when Israel has achieved its goal of either expelling or killing all the Palestinians, will you reconsider your position? Okay, I guess maybe I won't say when. I'll say it's hypothetical. If would you reconsider your positions?
Yeah, I've said this before, and I've said it to Paul too. If Israel ends up actually committing genocide, then yes, I'll reconsider my position. I don't foresee that as an outcome.
Including the expulsion of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip broadly.
Genocide, not ethnic cleansing, but genocide.
Wait.
Hey, Liv, I'll make your case for you.
Hang on. No. Do you think ethnic cleansing is acceptable?
I will cross that bridge when I come to it. And this is from someone. No. My people have been the victim of ethnic cleansing, and I'm still saying.
Well, I think you're saying that because you don't want to criticize Israel.
No, I'm saying it because I don't think it's going to happen, and if it
I'm
does
not convinced
happen,
that's why. I think you're
want to
saying
see the context and the rationale for why it happens. If it does. But I personally am not worried about it.
Do you think there are rationales that can justify ethnic cleansing?
If all you have is hypotheticals that haven't happened yet, and not
no, I'm just asking questions, Jeff.
I'll make your case for you.
I don't want you to make my case for me because I don't think you would make my case as good as I could.
Have they, Jack?
I show them to me. Come on,
Jeff, shut the fuck up! Oh my god!
That's my headline.
Shut the fuck up, Jeff. What the fuck is that?
So look up at the Wikipedia page, Gaza-Israel conflict.
Jeff is show me the dead kids. What the fuck, Jeff?
I got, so there's actually
it's more like show me evidence for your claim.
That's for seeing the war.
UN or fucking
I would apply
way
to
more
any
than
claim.
Israel since January 2008.
This is what I talk about like
I have
genuine intentional ignorance.
I can't follow both of you, so pick one.
Hank, go ahead.
Yes.
I've seen
dead kids in both that just for seeing the war.
Wait, Chris, hang on. I'm trying
way more to Israelis. I mean, like in 2014, there's 2,329 Palestinian deaths compared to 88 Israelis deaths.
Can you put the link in the chat?
I did. It's in the private chat. I cannot put it in the public chat because I do not have a wrench. I think maybe I'll try. I'll try the public chat.
No, that's okay. The private chat's fine. Let's see.
I'll repost the public chat.
It's just the Wikipedia article.
Yes, and that's all you need.
So, what part of the article are you looking at?
That's for seeing the war. There's a picture of the statistics of killed per side. So, preceding the war, Palestinians have been killed way more than Israelis.
Jeff has already stated that the number of deaths isn't like a relevant indicator.
No, and that's in accord with international law too.
Yes, it is.
Determined on a strike by strike basis.
Yes, it is. But Israel has the firepower to just go ahead and end this, and they're just playing around. So.
Yeah, I mean, showing the number of
very humane. Hey, Flo, what up?
Hey, Flo, welcome. Welcome. You're welcome to come on as well.
Yeah. Hey, Juniper. Good morning. I don't have my puppets today. I probably can't put those on.
She's like, don't be sad. Don't be sad and angry, people. Don't be sad and angry, people. Like we should all get along and be friends. Let's all get along and be friends.
Good morning, Juniper. Come to the dark side.
Is that a scepter?
It's my satanic staff. Yeah,
I love it.
It's all I have. It's the only puppet that. Oh, I have. Okay, this doesn't work, but she would love this. It's one of those little elephant toys that wind up and roll around. Look, Juniper.
So since you're
how does an elephant go?
As you were saying, instead of putting lights on your Christmas tree, really, you ought to take it outside and do an actual solstice tree and set it on fire.
That sounds like work.
Fair.
Well, I mean, that's what the Christmas lights represent. That's what they used to do. They used to take the tree and decorate it, and then they'd set it on fire, and that's why we have Christmas lights.
So how many solstice trees did you make, Chris?
How many did I make?
Yes.
I just done the research. I haven't done it myself.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like
trees.
commentate. You already did 6 already for that person.
I'm not some dirty commoner pagan. Why do I let you know?
I'll just take them out of the box.
All paganers are all poor people. Like that's for the poor.
Yes, that is true. Pagani means rural, rustic.
I know.
The rednecks, the deplorables, the MAGAs.
It's weird, and now we especially all those things with the secret elite. They're doing all the rituals and everything, even though they're if they really are, then they're doing like poor people shit. Like what's up with all these rich people doing all this poor people stuff? They're trying to appropriate my poor culture, man. I'm in a good mood today.
Is that a beer?
Oh no, this is a cream soda.
Oh.
Close enough.
Looks creamy. Vanilla cream.
I love those like cream sodas in the bottles. Oh, they're so good. They're so expensive though. It's an issue for me because like I like just inhale liquids. It's another problem with me drinking alcohol. Is like, like I'll like pour myself a little bit of alcohol and it'll be gone in 3 seconds.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna get a root beer. I put them in the refrigerator yesterday. I'm gonna get one.
So Hank, never mind.
Nah, I think he's going to get a root beer.
Yeah, he's going to get a root beer.
Oh, he comes back. So anything else going on in the world? I haven't checked the news today. Our usual topics: politics, culture, philosophy.
Something's going on in Venezuela. I think Venezuela's planning on invading one of their neighbors.
They're trying to get that oil. They're like trying to annex that land. Yeah. That doesn't sound good.
No, it's not. And like if you look at, there's a God, hang on. Let me see if I can find. I just saw this early, like just a little bit ago. It was on Vosh's stream, but there was the Venezuelan propaganda thing about it, and like they do the whole like blood and soil like thing. Like this has been part of us since 1800 and whatever, and that's why we need to take it and shit like that.
Really, so they're just trying to rationalize making.
Yeah. Oh no, 110%.
Oil grab.
Yeah.
But that's not out of the ordinary for.
No, it's not.
Human history on this.
I mean, not even for like honestly Venezuela. Venezuela is not exactly what many people would consider to be a good and righteous country.
Are they socialist?
The comment there is hilarious, by the way. That's really fun.
No true socialist, right?
Facts. I'm the only true socialist.
So is communism a form of socialism?
The final form.
Yes, technically socialism is any economic system. So yes.
If you want to get specific, socialism is like a step on the way to communism. Socialist. It's that next evolution.
Not the way Marx used the term. Socialism is just his name for economic systems.
Yeah, no, I know. Marx, I mean, and that's mostly just due to the fact that Marx was writing like, 150 years ago, and the terms have kind of
water
changed.
I'm bougie. Yeah, you're probably the most bougie of all of them.
Coconut water.
Real estate also read Marx.
I used to love coconut water.
You know what I do love though? Lime water. Oh my god. And like that you can just make that with just like putting some lime in some regular tap water, and it's good as shit.
For real, like lime and cucumber, cucumber as if you just like slice up some cucumber and put it, you get like one of those big iced tea jugs. You take just take whatever water you put, slice up a cucumber in there and like some limes and just let it sit. Man, that shit is so good. I literally have just drank gallons of that stuff. So.
Yeah.
So flow state, full freedom just means you're the dictator.
Truth.
Wait,
Facts.
what?
What I
Freedom
advocate
means
for
you're the
is
dictator.
I want to be the
full
Grand
freedom
Poobah
just
of
means you're the
capitalism.
dictator.
You're dictator of who? Of yourself, not of other people.
Well, yourself and maybe other people sometimes.
Well, that would be authoritarianism, unless
Yeah,
you're
it
like
would
in
be
some kind of
authoritarianism
sanctioned
for
position of
them and
power.
freedom for you.
Yeah, you just have to have a
That's
safe
not
word.
how I conceive freedom.
You just have to have a safe word, right?
Yeah.
Facts.
So you think my my half joke, half actual philosophy is incorrect?
Yeah,
saying that if I just read the law to
I end up
think
posting this
I
tweet
think
like
you're
almost
showing,
every
I think you're
stream.
showing true wisdom by having Alexa remind you to rewrite the laws.
before I started. But
that's
well,
base.
what I'm saying is, are you saying that morality has no bearing on how we judge these things, or are you saying that it's only the law? Or
For
do
me,
you see
it's the law.
no difference?
My assumption is that the law has morality encoded into it, at least Western morality.
I mean, that's the ideal, I guess.
Well, I guess if everybody has that assumption, I'll just rewrite the law to justify.
Like if it's good enough for the international community, it's good enough for me. I trust them to not do anything
except for
out
the
of
definition
the
of genocide.
normality.
Except for the definition.
But that's not
of
what's
genocide.
happening. That's not what's happening. So
just making sure.
Yeah, we did a whole stream on this and the UN definition and the dictionary definition. Nero, do you have a channel? Did you get your channel back up?
I can't put my well, you know what it is. It's in the chat. You can. I mean, I don't know how to share it because I'm not.
Flo, look at his chat name and just Google that on YouTube.
He probably doesn't know. Even I told him before, but I don't think he knows. So
what? Actually, Nero, what is your chat name?
I'm not. I don't want to say it, but you guys are okay to put it. I mean, it should be.
Okay, I won't say it, even though I know it's one syllable and starts with T.
I'm trying to kind of halfway play. You know, I don't want.
I mean,
my channel
you gave it away when you came on the stream today.
So well, I know, but the funny thing is people still haven't figured it out, even though it's obvious. So
okay, you'll filter out the dummies.
Wait, I don't know it. I mean, I guess I am a dummy, but I don't know it.
But yeah, I do want Flo to know.
One name in the chat and one name here. Just it's very very simple,
Yeah, but I do want Flo to have my channel. So if you could send it to him, I would appreciate it.
No, send it yourself, Lazy Bones.
I don't know if I have contact with Flo outside of.
Send it yourself, Lazy Bones.
No, just put it in the chat.
Don't hide the fortress.
I don't know how to put it in the. I don't think
I put it in the private chat, but you said not to put it in the public chat.
Oh no, you can put it in the public chat. I just don't want to admit that it's me.
Fair.
Okay.
You just don't want the feds to have you on tape saying it. I get it. I got you. Right there.
I get it.
Yeah, you're afraid of feds, and I put freaking Genocide Hank as my subtitle.
Yeah, that means you're a Fed, Hank. Okay, you gotta understand this. That means
he's trouble.
Flo shares channel links in his descriptions if you go on his show. So he's asking if you want your channel shared. Yes, we are. And neurodivergent, most of us.
Yes, I would love for him to share it. He just doesn't have to say it's me. But I would love the sharing of it without giving. I don't want credit under this name.
Then who's doing it if it's not you?
Well,
is it me?
It's that guy.
I mean, Flo should just point out Fedora. You gotta read the lines. He's, I mean, that's not my joke. That's Flo State. I'm just saying. I mean, he makes a good point. You can't dispute the literal fact that those letters are in that word. So,
yeah,
I would be honored.
And I have Fedora on this USB stick too, so that's like I'm multiplying the problem.
Well, that's the thing is like. I like people thinking I'm a Fed, even though
I need more than 6 videos. Okay, I demand you make a H-Bomber style 4-hour breakdown.
I have 30 videos made. I'm just waiting for my subscribers to get up. I have like 25 I haven't released yet.
I will go on all of my different YouTube channels accounts and subscribe to your channel. To
awesome.
Boost those numbers.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a lot of videos, and I just made another one last night. So yeah. I had like 60 videos on my old channel, but these people said they were gonna swat and dox me, so I just deleted everything. Just to be on the
Oh
safe side.
shit!
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna.
Who said they were gonna dox you? Let's dox them instead.
You don't
I
even.
mean, no, let's not do that. But
So
they're gonna like.
Yeah, that reminds me. I'm gonna dox myself so I can get.
You don't even
so,
stream from home.
leg.
They're gonna like tell what type of truck you drive or what type of beach you hang out at.
Well, yeah, that's what I was worried about. Where they're just gonna dig into all my shit and try to piece together who I am. So yeah.
Well, I don't care. If they find me, they can visit me. We could have some fun together. Grinder style.
That's the thing is like when a SWAT team shows up to your house and you have a kid in your house, it'd be a little bit different story. But
that's a good point. The SWAT team's not going to take anything they say seriously. They can't.
So,
they
like,
can't
civilians have the power.
narrative.
Random civilians have the power to mobilize a SWAT team to people's house.
No.
There's not a process that has to go through.
No. There is a process. However, like the process can be hijacked.
That would be kind of cool to have a SWAT team show
Hi,
up.
NeuroJack.
Send some sexy cops and no women.
Oh my god!
Send sexy cops to me, and you know what? You can send a couple women if you want.
But what if they sent sexy cops but they're female?
Yeah, no women and no kids either. Like send the daddy cops.
Yeah, the ones in like the tight spandex. There we go.
So you don't want them to send you women from Death Note.
Huge dicks.
Now I want to get started.
Yeah, there we go. Even better.
Oh, it's okay, Jack. I mean, we all know that you just don't want people to find out that you're
No, I don't mind
space alien or whatever.
I want to figure it out on their own rather than them because it is.
Oh
very
my
obvious.
god.
They're not going to figure it out. I try to give them a bunch of breadcrumbs to me, and they're freaking literally ignoring. They don't even want them. They'd rather chase their tail than take my breadcrumbs.
I know that's the crazy part. That's what's hilarious to me is like.
I was gonna barely.
I just post all my shit on Front Street.
Investigate me and said,
Just
no,
like,
you don't.
come on, motherfuckers, whenever here comes. So.
He just want to see one of my dolls instead of investigate me properly like he needs to.
Look at the channel description. That was a complete typo. That was a complete unintentional Freudian typo.
Liberty Hamas. That's hilarious.
I didn't see it. What channel description? What were we looking at?
Ours.
The video description. Yeah, the one for right now that we're on. I'm gonna update it and add some names.
Oh wait, what? Yeah, there we go. Liberty Hamas. Hamas.
Unless you want to keep it. But
it's fine. I love it. I don't give a shit. All right, I'm probably already on their whatever fucking canary website.
Just take off the AS. Just leave him as Liberty Ham.
Going ham. Also, I love ham. It's like easily one of my favorite deli meats.
Ugh.
Green egg and ham.
That's wrong though.
I don't even like.
I mean,
ham.
it's way better than turkey.
That's a good point.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
It is better.
When it comes to like holiday time, like I'll take ham over turkey any day of the week.
I'll take it if there's nothing else around.
Except I won't take it via what's McDonald's garbage? The McRib. I won't take it.
Oh God, well, that's not even
real meat.
Yeah, like
that's like pressed together. That's like the meat equivalent of
it's like a hot dog. It's like a hot dog pressed into the shape of ribs, including the bones for some reason, which I always thought was odd.
Like
they're not even good hot dogs. I eat a hot dog. They're not even good.
Wait, does McDonald's have hot dogs?
No, it's that they have McRib they use to get
hot dogs
sorts pork. They buy pork's cheap now, so they buy a bunch of McRib to pad out the menu. But the problem is McRib sucks so bad, so they have to take out the menu each and every time.
When I was like 8 or 9, I used to think the McRib was like the best thing, and then it went away for a while, and then like when it came back, and I was just a couple years older, and I got all excited and my parents would buy me one, and I got it, and it was not at all. I don't know why I liked it so much like 2 years previous to that, but I hated it. I haven't eaten one since. So like my
Damn, I can't believe
The thing
I'm
that
agreeing
makes
with
it good
Flow
is the
State.
pickle.
I agree. It's a pickle.
Here's
know what
some
they-
more. Here's some more advice for those aspiring to the bougie lifestyle.
You said McRibs are human cadavers. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, do you know what they call the McRib in China or Asia?
What?
McKitty.
McKitty?
I thought you were saying neighbor.
McKitty.
Are you being serious?
No,
No, I'm
it's
not.
a joke about how usually Asian cultures don't have as much of a
because they
taboo
eat
about eating cats and dogs.
Oh,
well,
God.
cats specifically. I think
No,
they-
I've known people from Thailand, and also people from what's the other country, South American Asian country that like literally like dog is on the menu.
Oh
feel
yeah,
like-
no. In South
we-
America, especially.
Like your pet
Dog is-
dog is on the menu once he gets
Yeah.
to a certain age. Like it was a friend of mine or somebody that talked about like they just them eating their dog. I can't remember what that was. Was that from my friend, or was that from something that I saw on something else? I can't remember. Like my wife had a thing where like she had a friend who was his family was from Thailand whenever she was in college. And their cat had kittens, and like literally like his grandmother, he had brought them up to the school and was like, please, someone, and begging people to adopt these kittens because his grandmother was going to eat them.
No, that's no, like, but here's the thing is like, you know, especially dogs in Asia, it like if you go to somewhere like Thailand and you see the dogs in Thailand, like they're basically dangerous wild animals. So it kind of makes more sense. Like, I mean, there are pets as dogs, but it's not like the norm. You know what I mean? Like, they're like roving.
But they
packs
absolutely will eat
dogs.
the family pet. Like if they need like a big piece of meat to roast for like a holiday or something like that.
I mean, honestly, that is very logical. I mean, I know that it's kind of like, you know, for our standards, it is kind of weird, but it is kind of logical. Like, you know, you don't want to waste.
Yeah,
I mean, you know.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like that's kind of how like a lot of, I guess, like small time farmers and like their animals kind of function. If you've ever like met any of these like, you know, single family farmers, like they name most of their livestock. They have names.
You ever seen Bowling for Columbine? There's like that one scene where like where that lady's just like holding this bunny and petting it also.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
and then just like breaks its neck real fast. It's like nothing. Like that scene is probably one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen on film because she never stops smiling or talking the whole time. She just mid conversation just breaks this bunny's neck, and it's just like I'm just like holy fuck.
You know what's funny?
It's a psycho. That seems like psychopath to me. I don't know.
You know what's funny is like I'll never forget. I grew up in the South as a kind of Democrat leaning person, and I'll never forget when that movie came out. I was in a very liberal town in the state I grew up in, and you know, somehow I got my family set me up on this date with this, you know, beautiful girl, and I was just like, okay, cool, you know. And she's like, I was like, what do you want to go see? And she's like, I don't know. And then we're like, we just happened to walk by a theater, and Bowling for Columbine was the only movie like playing at that moment, you know. And this is like it's like an afternoon, full packed house, and the whole time people are like clapping, cheering, and at the end it was like standing ovation. And I was just like, wow, this is kind of. I mean, like I thought it was a good movie, but it was like people were emotionally like.
I actually do think it's a pretty good movie until the end of it when he starts fucking with what's his name, like Charlton Heston and the older the two old senile men that he's just like he's.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that totally turned me off to that movie. And then, but that's the thing is like, it kind of like
is really good, but like that. But then he's talking, but he makes his big finale is him just like more or less just fucking with two people that don't even know what the fuck's going on anymore. They're like they've lost their minds at this point. They don't understand even what's being said to them, and he's like using it as some sort of point. I'm just like, how is this? How are you making a point?
Michael Moore totally fucked up my opportunity with that date. I can tell you that.
Are you serious?
Well, at least your family will set you up. My family just didn't know and didn't care, so I figured out for myself.
My family's just bad at fucking setting me up. They've tried to set me up with like these like real conservative Christian girls, and I'm like, whew.
Oh my god.
I feel bad for that girl.
What if they set you up with some real conservative gay guys, Christian gay guys and stuff?
I know too many conservative gay guys, and gonna be real, it's about my same perception as liberal gay guys, in that
I know. Well, you seem pretty like almost pansexual to a degree from what
I am. Yeah.
you've said. So I mean, but if you met, granted, like it's not very likely that you would hit it off with some super conservative Christian girl. But I mean, if you did, I mean, it's not like you'd be completely opposed to it just on those grounds alone, right?
Yeah. No. It just like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, probably not.
Yeah, they're not bloody enough.
You never know, man. Some Christian girls get freaky, man. Like some of them.
No, some of them do. Some of them do.
Well, but here's the thing. I have a genuine question though. How many hot super anarchist women have you met? Because I don't think I've ever met like more than any.
I mean, I guess it kind of. It's yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, I'm gonna just be honest and be like, it kind of might just have something to do with like different tastes, because in my experience, like I think most people are to some degree or another relatively attractive, and I mean I can tell you that, like, I know off the top of my head 1, 2, 3, 4 people who I could go off of their names and be like, they are very, very attractive, and they're like fucking straight up communists. You know.
Well, I mean, I
that just has something to do with like probably who I hang out with. Like, I hang out with a lot of communists, so yeah.
How many like, what do you call them? Girlfriends, partners,
comrades. You call them comrades.
Comrades.
Yeah, how many comrades do you have? Significant
comrades.
So I only am romantically involved with one person. However, I'm in a polycule, which is basically a chain of people who are all in a sort of like a connecting web of relationships. There's 4 of us. So like there's me, my girlfriend has a fiance, and her fiance has a boyfriend. I'm not involved.
Well, they used to call that a train, not a chain. They used to call that a train, not a chain.
It's more of a train. You're right.
As I said,
oh, that's in the background. It's thematic.
I'm so glad I'm not young.
Do you guys have a OnlyFans, or is that just like a private thing?
It's a private thing. Also, we're all to some degree or another ace, so like we don't even have that much sex to begin with.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm a romantic.
What?
That is really.
See, that's like very.
That's
very unappealing to me.
Sorry, what was that, Jeff?
What distinguishes us from just a group of friends hanging out?
That we have interconnected relationships.
They have the same political. No, that have the same political goal. That's what it is. They have a political goal.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. We're forming our polycule commune. That's what we're doing.
And the option to have sex with each other is on the table, I guess, at all times, as opposed to.
But do you have to write a contract each time, or is it just like an assumed thing?
No, we have, like, you know,
consent forms, obviously.
We're all, yeah. I mean, look, hey, nothing is sexier than consent. Okay.
Do you guys have to send it to each other's lawyer and make sure that you guys sign up?
Actually, unironically, we are once we move in together, which we're planning on doing sometime next year. There is basically, we're trying to, because like, obviously we could, you know, just pair up and get married, you know, and get benefits of marriage that way. However, there is also not really a loophole, but like forming an LLC to sort of get a lot of those like tax benefits. It's just one of those things. For what it's worth, I'm not like some like super crazed polyamorous marriage advocate in the United States. I understand that like the logistics behind it is actually, our system isn't set up to handle those logistics, so I don't, you know.
Yeah, according to Mickey Royal, you forming an LLC is a good idea.
Yes.
And also actually having contracts, unlike Steve McRae, who keeps getting himself into messes because the handshake agreement wasn't agreed to equally on both sides. So having something written down is always a good idea, just in case one or both of you forget.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just like trying to find, I guess, like workarounds to our current legal system that like don't let us, live the way we want to live, and just have to like it's mostly like there's like tax benefit stuff, there's like health insurance stuff that like is more complicated.
What's stopping you from living the way you want to live? It says you are living the way you want to live.
No, we are, but like in my ideal world,
they want to take advantage of the capitalist system while trying to tear it down.
Yeah,
true. True.
Honest. And you're right. There is something sexier than consent, especially whenever I get it at the point at the barrel of a gun. Right,
oh my God, no! I dated a girl who wanted me to point a gun at her during sex. I didn't like that. I was like,
I was joking.
No, I know. I
would say yes, but insist that's a squirt gun.
Yeah, that would be funny. Yeah,
that would be
even a realistic squirt gun, and then you could.
Was it good for you or what?
And the squirt gun's filled with white liquid of some kind.
Yeah, there we go.
And you're like, I already took my pants off. What are you trying to say? What's that?
Preferably KY or something associated.
Yeah. So I would agree to it, but with some.
Yeah. Lindsay does have a disturbing, one that's more disturbing. So some guy that wanted to, like, but that she was just talking to, and then like I guess like during like the course of like chatting and stuff, and like as it got spicier, and he mentioned that he wanted to like eat pork and beans off of her. And...
Okay, I shouldn't laugh. Like I understand. Look, people have their kinks, but
that's just a weird one.
So how was the gun pointing thing though? I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
I did not do that. I did not feel comfortable.
Did she have
that.
the gun, or did she?
No, I had the gun.
I
had the gun. Like we knew I had.
And then so like you concede to that part. You're like, well, it's fine. It's unloaded and everything. She's like, no, I want it loaded. And you're like,
no.
She's like,
no, we're going to squirt gun.
She's like, I want it loaded, and I want you to half pull the trigger out the whole time. Okay.
Yeah, right. Just you have to keep it. You have to keep your finger.
Actually, you know what's funny is with my specific handgun, it doesn't have a safety. It just has one of those like triggers that you have to half pull the trigger to disengage the safety. So that would have fit. That would have how it worked. Is you half pull the trigger.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, she was.
Well, at least it wasn't a revolver, and you just take all of them out except for one, and you just spin it, and then you say, "Okay, well, every 5 minutes, I want you to pull it."
Oh God, that would be.
That's what. Well, I mean, you're kind of a Russian file, so I figured
No, definitely, definitely a Russian file.
A little Watka and Russian roulette.
I do know way too much about Russia for any like normal human being, but that's like true on like most topics that I know a lot about.
Well, it's because you're studying both your enemy and your
other enemy.
Yeah.
I still
don't have friends.
If you're going to be a communist, you're going to be communist in a sexual type thing. You should call yourself comrades. I think that should be just.
Actually,
do you comrade take you comrade as?
Actually, in our polycule Discord, we all have the role comrade. Actually,
you do? Okay.
Yes. We have absolutely already thought of this.
Okay, well then I guess I had no idea of that, so I feel a little psychic then, I guess.
I have a joke, but it's too spicy for YouTube, so I'm not going to say it. So I'm going to save that.
Extreme stream.
My channel's already in jeopardy.
Extreme, go for it.
Yeah, look, okay, Jeff is already platforming Hamas, all right? He's already gonna get fucked.
He's platforming Hamas, he's platforming Israel.
Genocide Hank.
Misspelled it. That's ham ass.
Ham ass.
We don't support Hamas. We support ham ass.
I put it in the back chat.
Oh yeah.
I put it in the back chat. There you go.
Truth. Facts.
I mean, like ham is kind of like the ass of the.
I don't get it.
I don't. It's just a sex stuff because cumrag is like a really derogatory term.
Okay, I think I kind of get it.
I don't think that was too spicy for YouTube. I think you're not giving YouTube enough credit for how much YouTube can handle. You know, YouTube can be very kinky. It's not. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just say it's my accent. Okay, yeah, never know.
There we go. That's how you do it.
My Russian accent. Yeah.
So I wanted to leave an Easter egg for the people who are supposed to be investigating me, but they're too lazy to. If they go to my church's YouTube channel, Sunny Hill UU Church of the South Hills, they'll see me featured in pretty much probably nearly every video since I'd say August. So including my induction ceremony. If you see a guy that looks
wait, what's the channel?
Sunny Hill UU Church of the South Hills. I'll probably be nearly every video since August. So if you see a guy that looks like me in the video, that guy is me.
Right. Is that you?
I kind of assume that Hank is an immortal avatar of some sort that like has existed since time immemorial. So
of an elegant abomination, that's plausible.
Well, I have two questions for Hank, really quick. Are you able to disclose what deity Discordians worship? Because I had never heard that aspect of it.
Eris, but also for me, I also worship Persephone. But my Eris, let me finish. The Eris I worship is the one formerly known as Harmonia, because I think there's more than one Eris. But
is Eris related to Eros? EROS?
No. So I would say yes, since mine is Harmonia, that's her brother.
That is actually very interesting because I've heard it argued that most religions actually, if you boil it, I mean, there are certain religions that kind of boil down to the worship of Eros if you actually looked at it, but that's a topic for another time. But
no, it could be topic now. So
well, what do you think about that postulation?
Yeah, since my Eris was Harmonia and was the progeny of Aphrodite and Ares, just like Eros, then it's full sibling.
Okay. Well, and I know that other people won't.
Discordians more venerate concepts than they do actual deities. I mean, it's not even like. I mean, you know, the famous thing about Discordianism is that it's both an elaborate joke designed as a religion and a religion disguised in elaborate
well,
joke.
I would say that
I'm a polytheist. I say deities are objects of worship, God's objects of worship. So I think your description.
Well, I think what I would argue is if you understand what Eros represents, it's a good way of understanding people's psychology at the bare minimum. But could be wrong.
What do you mean by that? Elaborate, please.
Well, what does Eros represent in general? Like just basic, like because I think you know
Eros
a better
Eros.
Desire.
Cupid, Jeff.
Yeah, erotic love is where the term eroticism comes from.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very fundamental part of what drives people, whether they want to admit to it or not.
Yeah, I do too.
Sure, yeah. I mean, sex is a major driver of all human.
But it's not just sex; it's desire.
Desire, lust,
and lust,
curiosity. It's anything.
Curiosity kills the cat. Basically,
propels you forward towards some
satisfaction. Brings it back.
So here's my second question, just before I forget. This is what I want to ask Hank. I asked you this privately, Hank, but I wanted to elaborate on it.
Now, public.
But this is the basic question. People who used to attend something like a Gnostic mass, why would you think that they haven't really stopped that belief system, even though they say that they've left that belief system for another?
Oh, specifically me,
Not you specifically. I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. I sent you a video, but you know.
Yeah. Those people who went to a Gnostic mass and got triggered by it. I guess. Maybe they didn't know what you're expecting.
Well, what I mean is, if they once said that they believed in that stuff, and now they're in a different church, and I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the person that I mentioned. If they left that and went to something like, let's say, Christianity instead, do you think that they hold those old beliefs while in the new church, or do you think that they're honest when they say that they've completely left that behind?
I would need more information. They could be either. So they literally could have just changed their mind and went full Christianity, or they could just be sleeper agents. It could go either way.
Religious sleeper agents. Let's go.
But wouldn't you say that it is a part of Thelema that you would kind of pretend to not have those beliefs even if you did anyways, right? I mean, like, it is kind of a tenet.
No, because Crowley didn't pretend not to have the beliefs.
Why wouldn't you just stay Gnostic if that?
No, but he said no. But part of those orders, like OTO, they literally say, like, once you leave this setting, you're not. Hey, no, Louis. No, you're literally not to. Sorry, Bill. You're literally not to tell people that you hold those beliefs anymore. Don't throw stuff.
The thing is, that's run so locally that it's not a general. You can't find it in their books. That's a general thing. That it changes in by location. So at the OTO branch, which was Golden Thread, they didn't say anything like that to me. But also, I didn't even become a Minerva. I could just hang out with them whenever they were doing something. So,
how'd your daughter's school?
So it may be true somewhere, but wasn't true at in my area.
Okay.
I guess I can get my medicine from Walmart.
And sorry, I detracted from the general stream.
And let's go even further than that. Even if it was true, no one's going to do anything to me. So let's assume it's completely true. I totally violated the oath. No one's going to do anything to me. So, but it's not true for me. It wasn't true. The thing is, since it was a what's it called? Fellowship organization, they don't do any recruiting. So because of fellowship organization, they don't recruit, they don't market, they don't advertise. They're just there and they do stuff sometimes. And people can come and join if they want or leave if they want. But if you do want to join, you have to pony up.
Yeah, just like joining like any organization.
Yeah. Well, some organizations let you join without having you pay money, but then they ask for money anyways because they need to run stuff.
I assume you have read it, Hank. But Jack, have you ever read the Principia Discordia?
No, I'm probably the least well read out of everyone on these.
Oh no, I'm easily less well read on Discordia.
No, you read a lot, Lib.
It's especially if you appreciate kind of, especially if you live like, especially if you would especially if you like absurdist humor type stuff.
I do.
It's both one of the best written and most interesting of all of the, I don't know, it's like, I guess it's religious satire slash an actual attempt at kind of making like a biblical type text sort of. But it really does, like, I mean, it really is quite brilliant. Like the initial vision that kicks off the entire idea of Discordianism as it is described literally starts in a bowling alley.
The start of all good, the start of all good things.
All time freezes and I think it's an ape that stands up and says, "Gentlemen, look around you. There's a. He's like, I can't remember exactly the words. I'm going to paraphrase. But he's like, look at the chaos all around you. Look as we have nipples, but do not give milk.
Oh my god!
And that's the initial vision that they created as this like, which they, I mean, obviously it's made up, but it's like the idea of like this, like the fact that it's like a. I personally have long had the dream of, I would love to make a movie called The Principe of Discordia that would be about that would be kind of like a half adaptation of the actual document and half like the actual life of Kerry Thornley and the whole thing. It's a fascinating story. I mean, he went kind of insane and believed near the end of his life because he was actually friends. He actually was in war. He was in the war with one of the most famous political shooter activists or whatever you want to call them of all time. He was actually friends with what's the guy that shot Kennedy supposedly.
The guy that shot who?
Lee Harvey Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah. He was actually friends with Lee Harvey Oswald, and there was a book written about he actually wrote a book about Lee Harvey Oswald called I can't remember what it's called right now. And so like Lee Harvey Oswald, and then so like near the end of his life, it like all these coincidences really drove him crazy, and he actually started to think that maybe he had been a sleeper agent or a what do they call it, they call it, what's that movie? The movie about
Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Manchurian Candidate that he actually was the one that had killed. He was just the one that killed Kennedy, and he really lost his marbles there, and but it's just a fascinating story. Oh, and if you actually see what the guy looks like, if you could get Jim Carrey to play this guy in a movie, it would be. That would be like the show of Jim Carrey's career. It would be one of the most amazing performances of all time.
Oswald is a very interesting person. If you look at his life, he had a very weird official story. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's like
very
strange.
I looked at that some after watching that Stephen King adaptation about with James Franco going back in time in the closet or whatever. Because there was some things in there about Lee Harvey Oswald that I was wondering if that was true or just fiction. I looked up a lot. Yeah, his life was pretty damn nice.
Well, here's what I was trying to ask. Here's what I was trying to get at, and I just want to say this before I forget. Like for example, Jeff, if you could get more people to become Satanists by pretending to be a Christian, would you do it?
No, I'm not interested in people. Satanists are born, not made. I'm not interested in converting people to Satanists that aren't already Satanists. They'll find their own way.
But could you see if somebody had that goal that they would do something like that?
Jeff is like the John Calvin.
I'm not going to say it's not possible. I wouldn't do it.
Well, is it logical? Is what I'm asking.
You can rationalize anything like that.
What's the motivation, Jack? What's in it for them if they convert more people to Satanism?
Well,
is this just you being a conspirator?
Well, probably. Well, here's what I would say is what if you could convince people to have certain aspects of Satanism as a Christian, but they didn't know it, and then you could get them to do things that would aid your other goals in the interim.
No, that's.
Yeah, I was about to say. It feels like I think Jeff is very much so on the side of not deceiving people.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is
I wouldn't even believe that was possible. I would not trust people to not notice at some point what was going on. I don't think I could pull off that kind of deception long enough to.
Yeah, and I go
kind of goal.
Yeah, and I go the opposite direction. I want to just win the debate. So if you try and make if you're doing apologetics, I just want to have arguments to shut that down, and maybe I'll convert a couple people who figured out that their argument's bunk. But I don't need the sheeple. I don't want the sheeple. There's no point.
Based.
How about you, Mr. Communist? Wouldn't you say that if you could get capitalists to start believing in tenets of communism, but you had to pretend to be a capitalist to get rid of capitalism, would you do it?
Super capitalism, you mean? I'm not a communist. I'm a super capitalist. Super capitalism is when the workers own the means of production. Yeah.
I think you're mean an uber capitalist.
Uber capitalist.
I mean, I no, because I do think there is value to be had in honesty. I think there are things to be lost in dishonesty, other than just like other than just like the practical aspect of it. Like I do think morally there is something that is lost when you're dishonest.
Well, let me put it this way: what if you found that that any level of honesty doesn't change people's into becoming moral? So then you found that you had to get them to act morally through not being direct with them.
Why
not
is
necessarily
that your
lying.
responsibility to get people to act morally?
Well, my point is, if you want communism to come into being,
genuine?
Jack's more trying to get at my morals rather than like
your prioritization. Like if you really want communism, more than you want morality, or that you think that it's the most moral thing is for people to be communist, and people don't want to do it if you just explain the morality of it because it's too uncomfortable for them, then you have to basically socially engineer them.
Hey, NeuroJack. That you know what that reminds me of? Abrahamism. That's how Yahweh behaves. He does the peekaboo garbage. He does the manipulation. He knocks down the Tower of Babel so all can communicate. That sounds like the Abrahamic God. The trickery stuff to get people to convert.
I'm not ignoring you, Jack. By the way, I am thinking.
I understand, and that there is an argument that people make that is what Abrahamic faith is. They argue that is the noble lie. So, yeah, I'm not saying that's true. That's what people argue. So,
yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
I'll go even further. I would say Yahweh is a scammer.
That's true. I'm not convinced that. Rather, I think that if I convinced people via deception to become communists or like whatever my preferred ideological thing is, that would in itself invalidate my own political ideology, because at least, I mean, yeah, sure, I call myself a communist, but like at its fundamental level, I'm an anarchist, which means I'm anti-hierarchical. I'm very pro-freedom, pro-liberty, and like that. That is only something that people can do if they are able to, with full knowledge, consent. And I don't think I think that by deceiving people, I am undermining my own political ideology.
Well, if alternatively you found that, let's just say, whatever percentage of people that didn't join the club, so to speak, with you being honest, and they violently resisted what you see as moral with communism, and you said, well, if you don't want to do it honestly, I'm not going to deceive you, then the alternative is I have to put you against the wall. You see what I mean? Like now you're faced with another moral conundrum, right?
That is, however, I am a firm advocate that I believe that my ideology will only be, I guess, fully realized when we have actually moved the cultural zeitgeist to a place, and I don't
actual transcendent enlightenment, right? That's never going to happen until we find the communist orb. So.
True.
Don't take this wrong way. This is a genuine question to you, and this is not. This is not meant to be disrespectful, and I'm saying that because it's going to sound like it.
Sure.
Do you find that the idea of queerness in general is kind of opposed to what you're proposing about saying how, like, what I'm saying is, like, don't you think it's more easy to convince people through like relatively normal public facing relationships and child rearing versus something like queerness? You get what I'm saying? Like,
okay, yeah, and that kind of gets into a little bit of the argument of that gets kind of into, I guess, in the sort of gay, at least previously in the gay rights stuff, how actually Jeff talked about this, how you used to have, you had the gays who wanted to just, be accepted in society, and then you had us queers who are more about subverting the society and stuff like that. And you kind of have that delineation. And I guess your question is, it isn't like the first one, the gays who were, whatever, just trying to get gay marriage, but like weren't trying to subvert, whatever patriarchal.
Yeah, we weren't trying to fuck it up for everybody else.
I am. Yeah, that is true. No, I think that those kinds of movements, what Jeff is advocate is like pro and very much so. I think those, yeah, that's that too. Is a necessary part towards mainstreaming. I don't think it's deceptive. Like the thing that would be deceptive is if, for instance, I were to claim that that's all I want. That would be deceptive of me. However, I don't, if someone like Jeff were to say, I just want gays to be able to get married, but I'm not like, someone who wants to destroy the institution of marriage. I don't think it would be hypocritical or dishonest of me to work with those people on our common goals or on our common solutions, as long as I made clear that that my intentions are different.
Yeah, I agree. I would tag up with people to work on certain projects. Yes.
Yeah, that's
none of it matters until we can find Abraham Lincoln's secret grave and find the map to the true communist orb that will lead us all to enlightenment. So
we can build another one.
Well,
it's not.
I got jealous of Jeff's story about the Rowan stream, so I'm trying to inject some of that real full on crazy.
What?
Honestly, my teeth are real crazy right now. I don't know.
No, Chris, the real map to the communist orb is actually in 2 parts, and it can be found in Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher's graves.
Ooh, Discordians by nature.
Speaking of communist orb, when are we doing our game? I guess you know about Roll20.
Yeah, no. I do know Roll20. It'll take me a little bit to get some stuff set up for that. I did find there's a PDF. I'll link it in maybe the Discord or something of the D&D 5e basic rules. Okay. It's just a little PDF that just has all their
Roll20 automates all that. Should we work on characters or hold off on that?
I think. I mean, so for what it's worth, you can feel free to like work on characters, do whatever you want, even before like, I'm also getting my, I guess, setting document prepared because like, I want to give y'all a sort of a comprehensive but brief look at the world that it'll be taking place in order, just to make sure that
it might be better to wait for that so I can.
Yeah, that's.
Will you distribute the HP via communism? Like if someone takes a hit, everyone takes damage?
No. It's a game. Games have rules, and for fun. And one of those rules is that you have HP and it's yours. Although there are ways to share HP. There's a kind of cleric actually clerics can cast a spell called warding bond, which is like the materia components is 2 silver rings, each worn by one of the people, and like while people are wearing those rings and within 30 feet of each other, they both take they take half damage, and the damage gets transferred to the other damage gets transferred to the other person. It's actually an interesting spell. But it's basically just like a funny little haha. If you're married, you can cast the spell on yourselves, and you can protect your spouse in combat. That kind of stuff. There's that kind of funny stuff.
Or you could be a munchkin and have like someone with no HP, like a thief or something, and someone with a whole bunch of HP, and just use that to abuse saves.
Yes, that is oftentimes how that's spell in practice.
I like min-max gaming.
I am of the opinion I'm perfectly, in fact, I advocate for people to min-max in character creation, in that like you should create your character, but you should but like I think it's perfectly valid for people to be like, like if you're a wizard and you dump intelligence, like you can do that, but I'm not gonna criticize someone for dumping one of their other stats to boost their intelligence if they're a wizard. Especially if like the vibe they're going for is I'm a really smart wizard, like that.
Right.
It comes down to context.
My vision for the character.
Yeah. And like there's definitely like ways in which I think like in 5th edition, I like the system itself kind of prevents people from getting too shit on. Like the way I have people roll for stats is each character has to have at least 3 15s in their stats, in that like when you roll, and that's basically because you're playing heroes. You're supposed to be these powerful characters, and it kind of would suck if you're like, I'm playing, say like for instance a paladin, and paladins usually require at least 2, if not 3 stats to be relatively high, and then like you roll shit stats, then you're just like, well, I don't feel like a hero now, and I like avoiding that.
What if you were to run your whole polypool under the same rules, and like then you had to like roll for like everything? You could like live your whole like little group thing by the rules of D&D, where everything had to be rolled for and everything like.
Well. Here's my question: Is there a stat for luck or something like that to even out stuff?
Yes.
Well, not in 5th edition. Not in 5th edition D&D. And that's, I think that's fine. The way 5th edition is set up, that like is that like so most previous tabletop role playing games, their progression system is like a linear increase, like, at level 1, your bonuses are +1, at level 2, your bonuses are +2, and then so on and so forth. That's the way Pathfinder, D&D 3.5 work. However, D&D 5e, theirs is more of like it's like there are levels at which you get exponentially more powerful, and then that power level plateaus for a few levels, and then it gets more powerful. And so like at level 1, it's like you're most of your,
because that actually is more realistic, actually, in a way. I think that's actually more realistic.
Yeah, and it also more just like kind of levels out issues with people of different levels playing. It's just one of those things that the 5th edition I think does really well. As much as I think 5th edition is like far from a perfect system. Since I have a pretty deep understanding of the, I guess, like fundamental math that makes it work, I see it as like this actually really beautiful sort of system that's designed to maximize fun and minimize those like shit moments where you roll badly in those moments where you couldn't roll badly, like it has those moments where, oh yeah, bad shit might happen, but it's not going to be bad shit that you have absolutely no control over. You won't get, usually 5th edition, you don't get shit on because of like something you didn't expect.
Yeah.
Can I critic character that
it depends on the DM a lot. It depends on
it
the
also
DM
does depend on the DM, yeah.
Yeah. Numenera looks like a good system too, but I haven't had a chance to test it out. So I may run the game as soon as I have time again.
I have an idea for 2 streams that I want to try, and I just want to run this by everybody to see. Chris wants some feedback on his script, and I think it would be interesting to just read it as a group, and maybe people play different characters or something like that as a stream.
I'd be down with that. I'd be down for that.
Oh, like on stream live?
Yeah,
or like like on one of our streams, we just kind of like go through the script and people can just act the different roles, or or just read through it and get feedback in real time. Because
is that going to spoil the movie for people if we do that?
I mean,
well, hopefully they'll come back and get the explanation, right?
I was about to say, also, given that from my understanding, it's like just a draft of a script. I imagine the actual movie would probably look
would evolve somewhat. Yeah, I mean, but it is. This is a. I mean, to be fair, I mean, this is draft 6.0, and that was,
okay.
there was many sub. This is the most refined work I ever did in terms of working on it over years and years. Like, I really did refine this one quite a bit. I mean, it's even like pared down to a lean 90 minutes or 89 pages as it were, and like it's so. I mean, yeah, I mean, but it would have to change just because of
girls in it.
Time.
Yeah,
I can play a girl. I can play a girl pretty good, and I assume that at least one of us
plays
can do
the
that.
girl.
It is unfortunately because of my tragic upbringing as a cis white straight person. I'm so sorry, guys. It has straight relationships in it. I'm sorry.
Chris, don't worry. It's not too late to change the girl to a transgender
guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to. I definitely don't mind doing it. I'm trying to figure out like whether.
No, we can do it on some. Yeah, we can just do it on some stream at some time. Like, I'm just saying, or even in pieces, because it might be kind of long. I'm just saying, like, it'd be kind of interesting as an experiment to see, like, if we could start doing scripts or something.
Maybe we can do it. Maybe we can do it not live. That way if it it gets we can record it like.
Come on! Everything is live now. We don't do this editing stuff anymore.
Okay.
And if people are followed, well, there's no. We don't have that many viewers, so it's not gonna cost too much.
It's not like I'm worried about it live. I would do it as a cut out any dead spots and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, I'd want to do it as his own stream too. I want to finish reading through it first, actually, mostly just because I think it's good to. I like reading through things before I.
Oh, I just want to act it out and just figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to go through it.
Look, I'm a gay theater kid. Okay, I will absolutely act the shit out of it.
NeuroJack would do it live.
But yeah, and then my other idea for a stream was I want to do a movie review and like commentary of a movie on my channel or on anyone's channel if you want to, and I just want to restream to my channel of Night of the Living Dead. And we don't have to do it now or even this month. I'm just saying at some point in the near future I'd like to do that.
And that's really cool. That's really cool. We could actually do that one on stream with it on because like it's public domain.
Yeah, it's a public domain movie, so there's no restriction on playing it on YouTube. So
we
that's
could
why I
play
picked
it on YouTube and actually comment and stop and comment and go, and we do anything we want with it because it's public domain. And there's no
because I actually want to pick it apart because I have an idea to write a script that's based on the same themes, but obviously not like directly zombie related. But
okay, good. Thank God. I don't.
You mentioned the other day, and I think it sounds fascinating. I'm totally down.
So we don't need more zombie movies. God.
Yeah, I think Chris is definitely your man for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, but have you ever seen that movie, Jeff?
I think so. I saw the Army of Darkness.
Oh no, Night of the Living Dead is like
the original Night of the Living Dead,
black and white movie. If you've never seen it, I do recommend it. It is very
it's very different from other zombie movies too. It's not the same as like a modern zombie movie by any means. It's very.
So did the zombies run in that one?
No, they shamble.
Yeah.
What?
It's been forever since I've seen Night of the Living Dead. I'd be down to rewatch that.
Well, I want a fresh opinion on it because it's one of my favorite movies. I've seen it. I'm not even going to say how many times, but
yeah,
in the hundreds of times. So
artistic amount.
Yeah, so I want a fresh pair of eyes on it because I would just be curious to get somebody else's reaction. Like, even if you don't like the movie, like the themes that are discussed in it are, or it's not even really discussed. It has dialogue, but it's like, it's more like a mood kind of film. It's like the mood of the film is like very,
it's very groundbreaking for its time. It had a black lead in it, and it
has a twist ending. It has like, it's very weird. It's like, it goes from like it builds suspense in a way that not many movies do. Even back in the 60s and 70s, like there's not many movies that build upon suspense in a.
Is it like the Body Snatchers?
Yeah, it's not that level of production. It's a much more like lo-fi production, but it's very much eerie in that sense. Yeah, it's like very much like that, especially the original. Like if you go back and watch the original, like the one from the first one, like that one, it's very, very similar to like, not like in the way that it's shot or anything like that, but it's like like you believe that the character is like totally stressed out of his mind by the end of the movie. You know, he's just like, what the fuck am I in? And that's actually a good movie. That's actually a good analogy because I think San Francisco has always given me a similar feeling to that Body Snatcher movie. And yeah, and I think that yeah, I think it's a good analogy.
Okay, since we're not playing exact numbers, we'll just say that NeuroJack watched The Night of the Living Dead as often as I watched the Bible Black anime. So since we
The Bible Black.
No, that's not an Hank. That's not an anime. That's a hentai.
Same thing.
Oh my god. Well,
I mean, hey,
Now,
at least it's not. Hey, at least it's not.
Hentai is a subgenre of anime. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Hey, at least it's not Euphoria. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's not Euphoria.
I will
is
give.
it an anime or is it the HBO show?
The anime. Ooh.
I haven't watched that one.
Oh, don't.
I love
It's
the
worse.
Evangelion and Cowboy Bebop, but you know.
I did watch Cowboy Bebop, yes.
Ooh, do we have any Trigun fans? Since y'all are all
Yes,
old?
yes.
Yeah.
I also like Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho is probably one of my favorites.
I need to watch Yu Yu Hakusho. I need to watch so much anime. I used to watch so much of it when I was younger, and then I just stopped.
To be honest, Labagon's pretty shitty.
Yeah, well, I mean, I used to like keep up with like the seasonal anime, you know, like and like that was interesting, and cool, and then you know, it's a lot of it started to just kind of get shit and wasn't actually that good. It's all been downhill since the objectively best anime.
This one, Evangelion.
Kill la Kill.
Isn't this T-shirt badass?
Oh yeah! Oh fucking rad! What? Yeah. Holy shit! I wear the hell out of that T-shirt.
I love this. I love this.
Which one is that?
It's Evangelion. It's like one of the.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
I don't even know how to describe what they are. They're like creatures from like or realistic angels from the Bible type thing. They're like these horrifying like.
You want to talk about fucked up anime? Akira.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like Akira. Akira is like one of the very first animes I ever saw. I remember seeing it on like Sci-Fi Channel or something when I was like pretty young. So I mean, it is really fucked up, but like it doesn't. I'm kind of desensitized to it, I think. So
yeah, no, I mean that's fair. Same, honestly, to a certain extent. It's there's parts in it.
Yeah, Lindsay likes Slayers and Tenchi Muyo. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And our library, you can check out manga.
Yeah, mine too.
Ooh, love that. I love that. That's actually how I finished Naruto. Is like I got so upset at the filler in Shippuden that I just decided like fuck it. I'm just gonna read the manga to the ending, and then I did, and then I never finished watching the anime because I was like,
good move.
Have you heard of the anime Ghost Stories?
Oh my God.
Yes, actually.
The American dub, yeah, I have the whole thing on my Plex server. It's my favorite anime related thing ever because it's like they went so fucking buck wild with that translation.
Yes,
it's the most offensive, like blatantly offensive. Like it just like least gives a fuck about anything. I love the it's just like the who gives like we don't give a fuck attitude behind that whole thing. It's just like and some of the jokes aren't even just like you almost have to listen. So there's some of the jokes are kind of subtle and kind of like yeah, I mean, it's really well done too. Like if you just wrote an anime like that, I would just watch it. I mean, like it even makes there's kind of the shitty plot lines more compelling. I love it. I love it.
If you enjoy that, you might actually, if you've never seen them, but the abridged series, specifically Dragon Ball Z abridged, which is one of those. It's a really good abridged series. Like. I would say maybe the best because it like
I would say it's the best.
It maintains the story of Dragon Ball Z while like just being way better, funnier too. Yeah, and like all the characters stay the same. Like Vegeta is still an asshole, but like instead of like you having to assume his inner monologue of him being like fuck, he's just saying it, and it's great. And I love it.
That sounds fun. I mean, I remember being really into DBZ when it was like on Cartoon Network back like when I was a teenager, and then getting burnt out on like I think the Frisia fight, just getting like it felt like it literally lasted for for over a year. Yeah. So it was just like, and I got to the point where I was like, I think I feel like I've seen everything I can get out of this at this point, you know? Yeah. And so I never really went back to it. But I've heard a lot of people tell me like, you know, that it actually, Dragon Ball Z actually gets a lot better and a lot, you know, and there's a lot more to it and stuff like that. But I
will say, I'm not sure that it's worth watching past the Frieza. Like, I'm not sure it's worth watching Dragon Ball Z, the actual show, past the Frieza fight. Even though I do think it's good.
You watch Z Kai, and it cuts out a lot of the filler.
That's true. Kai does cut out so much of the filler. That's actually how I was introduced to Dragon Ball Z, was through Dragon Ball Z Kai when I was younger.
So you can pull stuff over and not don't take it.
But I had a question though about the role playing game thing. I just not really about like how we're going to do it. But I'm just kind of curious in general.
Yeah.
I mean, would it be conceivable to create a character that absolutely is not a hero? That could we base an interesting RPG around people working in an office? Could you make
the
no, they have there are systems that are there are whole systems designed around that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know if that was something.
Luminaire could do that out the box, but you can bolt on D&D to do that.
Could we create an RPG then that's about a bunch of streamers and like their streamer wars against each other? Like
no. You absolutely could. I mean,
do we have to?
No, we don't. I don't
have to. I'm doing it already.
Right. That was my point.
I'm gonna be the big bag at the next arc, probably.
All it's gonna make me do is want to do it in real life. Like that's so easy.
Well, I was kind of thinking of doing something like that as a way to kind of like maybe just like spark some ideas and maybe like as a kind of collaborative storytelling thing for the movie thing we've been talking about. It's kind of a way to kind of like, you know, involve like more than just like myself or just one or two people in like the writing process, like by turning it into like this, like, you know, kind of like, you know, actual D&D style role playing type thing where like we create scenarios and do stuff like that. Like we could maybe actually come up with some really interesting story ideas that maybe I thought I might not be able to.
Yeah, you can come up with ideas, or you can do stuff and write the news. I'd rather just write the news, and that's the story. That's just the way I do it.
I mean, the way I would even like think about like, oh god, the best way to like go about doing that. Each player would be their own streamer, and then like the idea. I mean, it would probably be one of those. It would be a collaborative storytelling, though the characters themselves would not be necessarily collaborating. They would probably the big thing would be that the characters are in conflict. That's probably what pushes, you know, things forward. Is you have characters who you have them do things, and then other players can like respond, and like you can have a subscriber numbers as like a pseudo health pools.
You can send a bot farm after one of your rivals to boost their subscriber count and then crash it back down.
You do that in real life.
Yeah, here's the thing, Chris. What you come up with won't be as insane as what actually happens. You won't catch up to what actually happens.
You'd have to introduce some more fantastic elements into it. It would have to turn into. You'd have to like add some fantasy.
No, you don't. It's not. The stuff that actually happens is so ridiculous.
I agree with Hank. I think it's going to be what's that law of parody? Like you reach a point, it becomes impossible to parody real life.
Oh god,
fair enough. That is fair enough.
What's his name? Poe's Law.
Yeah.
Poe's Law. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're already at Poe's Law when it comes to streaming.
That's fair. I mean, it was just like.
I mean, you could try it as an experiment. I don't know.
It's just something I can't. I honestly believe in throwing even the bad ideas out there, because sometimes good cons or good things come out of like just bad ideas being expressed sometimes.
Yes. So if you can do better than Lig and Snafu Snaps, I would entertain the idea.
And they're not even that good.
Yeah, exactly. So you probably do better than them because they didn't put any effort in. So
of who?
Those are actual streamers. I
some of the trolls on those other.
Oh,
on
like
other shows.
streams that we somehow found ourselves adjacent to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's trolls everywhere. Yeah.
Back when I was going to start my own channel, I had this kind of like half-cocked like idea that I was going to like I never really committed to it all the way, but I started like the concept of building like a lore for my channel before I even started it, and like it was going to be I was going to start out as though I was like coming back from like I had been a streamer for a long time, and like my channel had gotten deleted and stuff over some like controversy that I wouldn't really speak about, and that I would build like this whole like mystery behind like the thing, and people being you can't find you couldn't find nobody will find any record of it on the internet anywhere because it's like because like it all got wiped out because of the incident or something like that.
Oh God! Now you're.
But at the same time, like each video would have just been like kind of like typical like YouTube essay video type stuff or whatever. I wasn't really doing streamer back then. But then just in the background of that, there would just be building like this lore of like this like mystery behind the channel and stuff like that. I thought it was kind of an interesting idea, but I was never really quite sure how to pull it off. So I never took it that far, but still.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, there's definitely some people who've just unironically done that.
No, really, there are people have actually done that. Okay, I didn't know.
Oh no! Not as like a pretend, as in like they've had their channel deleted over a thing that they won't talk about because the thing is like bad and cough cough James Somerton. If any of y'all know who he is.
And there's things like the whole Boxy drama too.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, the Boxy drama at least is more like people harassing a girl for no reason on the internet, which I guess is like the history of the internet, but
Yeah, just like that's a really funny line you just said. I don't know, have you ever heard the John Luke Goddard line that like the history of cinema is that of boys photographing girls? It's like the history of the internet is that of boys harassing girls.
Yeah. True.
That's the. What's wrong? What's wrong with you?
DBZ abridged. What does that mean?
Dragon Ball Z abridged. It's basically they took Dragon Ball Z and then they did voiceovers for it. That was funny. And it's probably one of the best abridged series because there's a ton of other anime abridged series. There's like Sword Art Online abridged. There's oh god, what's the Hellsing Ultimate abridged? That's good. That's because Hellsing Ultimate's a good anime just broadly. So of course the abridged is gonna be good. Sorry, I'm not talking. I got caught up painting, so I'm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think.
No. Lindsay was asking me something anyway. I was listening to what you were saying, but I was having to like split my focus.
Yeah, as far as the D&D thing is concerned, I'll get a Roll20 set up, and I need to finish writing that setup setting doc, and I mean, you can feel free to like. I mean, I encourage people to make characters because at least for me, that's how like I learn. That's at least for me, and that's how I learn how systems work. Like when I find a new tabletop RPG system, all I do is just sit there and make characters. For like I make 6 or 7 characters, and that teaches me about the game. At least that's how it works for like in my brain. So even if you don't know
make characters, but not the real ones we're going to use in the game. Just
but practice. Like look at like the system. Like say like okay, I'm going to make a fighter, and see.
Well, we could do that if you want, Chris. Make pretend characters.
Yeah, and there's resources. I can actually link them too here in this chat. Like there's a thing. There's a website called 5e.tools, which has all of the rules and everything for 5th edition for free online in like this whole bunch of drop down menus and stuff. You can look at the classes, the races. You can look at their adventures and stuff, the published adventures, and all this sort of stuff. And I utilize that resource a lot just because I don't. It's easier than like having to pull out the actual book and like flip through the pages. I can just pull up this website and type in the search bar and boom, found what I was looking for.
What's it called?
5e.tools.
.tools.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, and now I mean I wouldn't say you should use 5e.tools to learn how to play D&D 5th edition because it's more of a reference manual than anything.
Okay.
There is a thing. Can I link? Can I put PDFs in the chat? Maybe not.
You should be able to.
Okay, let me pull up.
Yeah. There's also a demon game that I've been wanting to play too.
What's it called?
Demon the Fallen. It's a storyteller game, and/or mage as well. It's from the World of Darkness, the vampire universe.
Ah, okay. Ooh, this actually
Mage,
looks interesting.
wraith, demon.
Let's see, download. Yeah. D&D.
What if we created an RPG system that instead of using dice or some sort of like other like random thing, we use a tarot card deck that you draw cards from to.
There are systems that do actually just over in my corner. I have a system called Faith, which it doesn't use dice. It uses a deck of cards, like a deck of playing cards, and then you draw your 5 cards at the beginning of a combat, and then you use those cards to like.
No, I meant using them strictly the same way you use dice in D&D. Like just like
dice are more flexible because they're more allow for more open ended.
Sure.
Like it's the resolve.
I'm just trying to think of a unique system. I don't know. I don't know enough about tabletop RPG, so I'm just thinking,
no. There's
it gets my creative juices like kind of flowing. I'm just trying to think like what other things could you use besides dice? What other things could you do besides like what kind of things could you do that you could add like a creative spin to make something
you
more
use cards.
like
the live action version uses rock paper scissors.
Yeah, I mean, you can any sort of way that you can randomize things is useful. Heck, you could play D&D using a deck of cards. Like you don't have to
basic rules. Are these the basic rules from like 19?
No. This is the basic rules from 2018.
From 5e?
Yeah, for 5e.
Oh, okay.
Now this is a relatively.
So they don't have AD&D anymore, right? It's just all.
Well, I mean,
D&D.
No. AD&D still exists. You can use AD&D. They just aren't making content for it.
5e is just D&D.
Well, yeah, that's their.
This is what would normally be called AD&D in my generation. So now they just all call it D&D. There's
no. Okay, so those basic rules, that's like what you can find in the core rule book minus all of the like lore stuff. That's basically what it means by basic rules. Is like these are how to play D&D 5th edition, but without all. But
is 5th edition called AD&D?
No, AD&D is the first edition of D&D.
And the second.
No, second edition is second. Well, I mean, I guess technically, you're right. It's AD&D and the first edition of D&D.
But at some points they drop the A.
Yes, and that's because of like they did some minor changes to the first edition, and then they dropped the A.
Third, they did it in third. Okay,
and then third, yeah.
There was a separate line called Dungeons and Dragons that was more simplified and basic.
Yeah, and this all gets more complicated because currently Dungeons and Dragons is owned by Wizards of the Coast, who didn't make D&D.
Yeah,
they do now, but like, and I think they have since third edition. So they have been making it a lot. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of AD&D, mostly because I think, if you want to use AD&D rules, I think second edition is better. Just in my opinion, I have a bunch of the AD&D and second edition rules, the rule books. I've picked them up before, and
I got the whole set.
Hell yeah!
Has everyone ever here seen like the D&D episode of Community?
Yes. Oh God, yes.
So good.
I love
that. Actually, Harmon, Dan Harmon's like whole like Harmon Quest thing, where like they did like the live, they did like a Pathfinder game they've been playing for a while. It's actually really cool actually in itself. I really like like it's really the whole story about like the guy that ultimately is their dungeon master was like is like they talk about in his documentary about Harmontown, like how Spencer, the guy Spencer, how he got involved with him. He literally he was kind of like this introvert, shut in kind of guy, and he heard about them like that Dan Harmon doing like this live D&D thing, and he barely ever like left the house. He was like a shut in, but for some reason he got like he just like something spurred him on to like go. He's like, maybe if I go there, like maybe just by chance I'll somehow get to like play D&D with him or something like that. And he actually did. He randomly got chosen out of the audience and became part of the game. And then they made him dungeon master for the next game. Now he's like been a part of like their whole like crew ever since then. It's just really cool because Spencer's like a really like introverted, like kind of like gentle soul type person and like that. They even did a show with Dan Harmon called Great Minds. It was very obscure on the History Channel. It was like a little kind of an Adult Swim length show where they had this insane premise that they could bring historical people back to life for about an hour and a half, and then they turn to goo again. And so like they'd bring like a historical character back to life, and then they would go on some sort of crazy like dumb adventure type thing, and then the historical character turned to goo at the end, and it was not historically accurate or it was just a comedy thing, but it was on a History Channel, and so no one's really ever seen it. But it's really hard to find. But if you can find, I think I might have it on my Plex server though. So it's just they're really funny and worth watching. But I don't know, side rant. That's all.
No, you're good. But yeah, with the D&D, I mean, one of the big things that I don't want to say I take issue with AD&D is the limiting aspects of character creation. There are like some things that are just very specific to older ideas of what tabletop role-playing games should be. Like, for instance, only humans can be paladins in AD&D. It works in AD&D, but like I think that in other systems.
So there's no class and race restrictions at all in 5e?
No, none.
Oh Lord, that's weird to me.
None. Yeah, no. I know. I'm aware. It's mostly due to like basically allowing people to play because like in AD&D, hell, you can't even play an orc in AD&D, but like 5th edition,
you play half orc.
Yeah, you can play half. You can't play a half orc wizard.
Right.
But in 5th edition, you can play a half orc wizard, and like a lot of this is like sort of up to the setting and the DM. Like obvious, like for instance, 5th edition has a gunslinger class. It's a subclass of artificer, and I'm just gonna be real. You can't pick the guns. You can't pick the gunslinger subclass in my setting because
are you using a existing campaign or is it a homebrew?
It's a homebrew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Although actually, now that I think about it, we don't have to use my setting. We absolutely can use a more sort of generic, like a.
What are the settings for 5e? Because I know Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, Dark Sun.
Yeah, so it's Faerun is the default for 5e. If you're familiar with Faerun, so like the Sword Coast, which includes cities like Baldur's Gate.
That was from Waterdeep. Sword Coast was from. Wait, let me see. Was that from Greyhawk?
No. Greyhawk is a much
Forgotten Realms.
It's a Forgotten Realms thing, yeah.
Yeah, I like Greyhawk better.
Greyhawk's cool. I haven't done a lot of reading into Greyhawk is my thing. I just
like it because that's where all the modules were set that I grew up playing.
Yeah.
It has nostalgia value, but I do think it's a good set. It's more realistic. It's more like
No. I love that about
low fantasy than high fantasy.
Are there any tabletop RPG systems that are set in like the Douglas Adams type universe, like Hitchhiker's Guide? Because I think that would be a fun.
There's games like GURPS, which you can set in any. They're like
and you can
generic rule set that you could customize and set in any universe.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I know that. I just know if there was any like existing like developed campaigns that center around something like that. Because I just think
I'm almost certain that there is. I can't like rattle it off the top of my head, but I can tell you, knowing how much nerds love making funny games, there's almost certainly. And in fact, I can almost assure you, someone somewhere has specifically made a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy tabletop RPG. Almost certainly. I can just Google this right now.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Because
Yeah,
they also have the D20 rule system, which you can it's open license and people can create any game for it using the D20 rules.
Yeah, D20 rules I think are like probably some of the, I don't want to say the best, but they're definitely the easiest to use. D100 systems are fun. I enjoy D100 systems, but they're also I enjoy spreadsheet video games. So like my tastes are very specific to me.
Oh Lord, okay. I enjoy very streamlined.
Yeah, no. That's in fact that's
games that let the narrative flow.
Yeah, no. 5e I think is perfect for that because it sort of it's one of the 5e is one of those systems that is designed to be homebrewed. Like the system is set up that you can make a lot of changes to it without breaking it. So you can do a lot of things. I've seen people like there's a Star Wars 5e where they modify 5th edition to work in like a Star Wars setting. There's a Game of Thrones 5e. There's tons of different like ways you can sort of mold 5th edition D&D to whatever setting and mechanics you desire. It's just that kind of open-ended system.
I actually can't find. I do see a couple of homebrewed like.
It's mostly going to be homebrewed stuff. You probably won't find like an official.
Yeah, there isn't like any kind of thing that's
because to be an official version, they'd have to get it licensed.
Yeah,
from the Douglas Adams.
I just think like that's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite fantasy sci-fi like worlds. I've ever. I think not just because of the humor of it. I think the actual concepts of it I think are kind of semi-genius, especially like the.
I agree.
The somebody else's problem field that they use as a cloaking device. I think it's actually I think it's for the closest thing that if there's ever cloaking technology, that's how it's going to have to work. It's going to have to be something that tricks the human brain into not seeing it because it has to write it off as just assuming that it's somebody else's problem. I think that's a brilliant idea on so many levels.
I think Douglas Adams is like a brilliant writer. I loved his the Hitchhiker's. I used to have like the compendium of like all of his books. I don't know what the fuck happened to it. I wish I still had it. God,
I wish I had mine too. I don't have one either. But I think once again, which not many people even know it or anything, but C.S. Lewis's space trilogy, Fit World is a gorgeous it would be a great awesome setting too because it's set in like the 50s 60s but it's got like this kind of weird like almost anachronistic kind of sci-fi kind of aspect to it but then it also has everything from like wizards because Merlin's a character in the third book,
of course.
The second book entirely takes place in Venus. The first book takes place on Mars, and the third book takes place on Earth, the silent planet. And like the way the lore and the mythology he creates in that, Lewis does not get nearly enough credit. I mean, people just know Narnia, and which Narnia itself, I mean, probably not a bad setting for that matter either. But but I think his space trilogy stuff is so. All of Lewis's fiction stuff, I adore. It's honestly it's the reason that was like my young when I was like our young was 12, 13. That was my primary motivating factor behind wanting to make movies, wanted to be creative, was reading those books and like wanting to make them into movies. I wanted to make movies out of like the space trilogy and out of I mean, like it's really a shame. They made those three Narnia movies and they never got to the good one. Like The Magician's Nephew is by far the best of all of the.
Though there have been versions of I think almost all the books.
No, the BBC version's only got as far as Silverchair, which
it was just Silverchair.
Yeah, but
I've seen some of them. Magician's
Nephew is actually the origin story of Narnia. Yeah. It doesn't have any of the same characters. It has a completely different set of characters. It's a prequel. It's a prequel to all the rest of them, and it's the entire lore behind Narnia is so much more fascinating than anything you see in the Narnia stuff. It's really
Magician's Nephew is my favorite book in the Chronicles of Narnia, like by a long shot.
It's so creative and just good. I mean, everything about it. I just love. I mean, it's the funniest one. It's the one that has, I think, the most endearing characters. It's just like it turns.
I love the lamp scene. I love the scene of the lamp getting. It's so good. It's so good.
So good, man. And he also wrote another book that almost no one's read, which is called Till We Have Faces, which is probably one of the most beautiful and tragic medieval fantasy epics ever made. But
yeah, no. We actually when I was in, I want to say I was in high school, we read Till We Have Faces in our literature class. Yeah. I mean, my literature teacher was like, she was rad. Like she on Fridays would have us watch. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Reduced Shakespeare Company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We would just watch that on repeat because it's just the best. We would like come into class and she would talk to us about the new episode of Breaking Bad that just dropped. We'd spend the first 30 minutes talking about it.
That's cool too. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Till We Have Faces, I think is also got, it's just like a fascinating kind of version of Greek mythology that I don't think anyone else. I mean, I just don't think, and there's a book that's just a compendium of his lost works, his unfinished stuff that has so many there are so many great books that he started writing that he didn't get that far with. There was one, I think it's one of the most fascinating concepts I've ever seen. It was called After 10 Years, and the concept was the very first scene starts out in the belly of the Trojan horse, and it's I can't remember and it's about the siege of Troy, but when he gets in to find Helena of Troy, he kind of to rescue her more or less, he doesn't find the woman that he was there to rescue. He finds this other woman, and it's this older woman, this old woman, and he doesn't understand what's happened, and he takes her with him anyway, and then along the journey, he finds out there's this old Greek elf guy that tells him that's not the real Helena, she's been replaced. And it's just a fascinating fantasy thing that there's only a third of a book though. And he also did another one where he kind of worked off the idea of the Catholic myth of the chronoscope thing, the thing that can view through time. He did another thing where they this it's called the Dark Tower, where these guys they all kind of have all these various scholars, very similar to the Space Trilogy kind of stuff, where they all gather together in this place where they're discussing this device that they have either found or created. I can't remember which one. And it's supposed to be basically the Chronoviewer type thing where you could see through time, but instead of seeing through time, it sees into another dimension. And what it sees in the other dimension completely shakes all of their it basically causes this massive philosophical discussion about what any of their theology or anything even means, because of what they're just they're just so he as a fiction writer. I mean, I've heard a lot of people take issue with him as a theologian or whatever. I personally think his theology is pretty solid, but nonetheless, I think his fiction work is almost impeccable.
His fiction work, I'm not a huge fan of his theological work, or rather, I enjoy his theological work because I enjoy the sort of critical aspect of it. But I love his fantasy. He's a great fiction writer. Oh my god.
I mean, because it's another thing, another setting I've always wanted. I'm not really big into writing historical fiction type stuff, but I would love to write something about the Inklings and about the time period where Lewis and Tolkien were friends in this group of writers that would get together and just
don't
read
they have stories. A movie about them, about the Inklings?
Is there? I didn't. If there is, I didn't know about it. I mean, there's been a couple movies made about Lewis, but it's usually about the tragic parts of his life and not about anything more exciting.
It looks like they have several.
Yeah, it's really? 10 great movies about C.S. Lewis and the Inklings.
Really?
Through Joy and Beyond.
Wait, how have I never heard of any of these?
The Most Reluctant Convert.
I see a documentary, 10 great movies.
There was a biopic, a fictionalized version. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Anyway, I just think it's fascinating that the two of those people being Tolkien and him being friends.
Oh yeah.
There's an apocryphal story that you can't really, but apparently at one point when Tolkien got up to read yet another I think when he started on the Lord of the Rings, the actual Lord of the Rings book after he'd done the Hobbit, and Lewis's reaction was not another fucking elf story.
Honestly, look, all right, as I feel like I tend to be the annoying parts of Tolkien in my friend groups, because when I say I love world building, I also do the I like creating languages. I like when I world build, I like build a world and then start from like the ooze that sentient life comes from and build from there. And that's how I world build. Which is not efficient at all. It's a horribly inefficient way of world building. It takes fucking forever.
What is?
When I do like my world building, I will start from the beginning of the world. Like, I
Oh yeah, I do
yeah.
like in the Silmarillion.
Yeah. I do that kind of stuff before I make like
mythology.
Yeah.
Why? He's fine.
Because that kind of stuff.
And you said that's not an effective way of doing it.
No, it is not an effective way of world building. The at least insofar as like for the purposes that I like when I world build, I'm typically world building for tabletop RPGs, and a much better way of world building is to start small. You start in a town, and then you build out from there. And that because like that allows you to like basically have a playable world as soon as possible, and then you can just make the stuff up as you go along. It's much more efficient, but I don't care about efficiency in that sense.
I mean, I didn't know until a long time later. I mean, I think that it's fascinating that Tolkien himself, I mean, his main study of he studied language. That was his main thing. With he started from the languages and then like worked from there, and like which is the reason why his books are fascinating as like they feel like they're written documentaries of like this this fantasy society's like life and like their habits of eating and like all this stuff like that. And it's really like the story of Lord the Hobbit's actually a really good solid book. I really think The Hobbit is by far his best actual book, and it's a shame they turned it into like this bloated 3-movie thing because it's just not that there's just not
the cartoon was good.
Oh, the cartoon's very good. I mean, I love the cartoon, and I think that the Lord of the Rings movies, the Peter Jackson's first trilogy, makes a lot. It makes a pretty good story out of a book that does not have much story to it because there really is not much to that. As long as it is mostly. I mean, if you were to make a faithful adaptation of Lord of the Rings, it would be mostly a movie about watching hobbits eat. So, I mean, it's just like. I mean, there's not a lot of story to it. It's like this slice of life, kind of like let's just like watch what happens when these hobbits just kind of walk places, And I mean, it's like because the basics of the story couldn't be any simpler than they are. They're just like, I mean, seriously, even with the movies, you could if you watch the first movie, if you watch Fellowship, you can really skip Two Towers and the first 2/3 of Return of the King and still get the same story.
Yeah.
You don't really need much that happens in between there, and like there isn't even that much character development, to be perfectly honest. But I still like them and everything. I think the world is fun and everything, and I am a fan of Tolkien as a writer. I just think that well, for example, like like the main character of Edwin Ransom in the Space Trilogy was based on Tolkien. It's actually literally like an avatar for J.R.R. Tolkien is the main character of the Space Trilogy, so I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, if you've never read Space Trilogy, I think they're easy, quick books to read too. They're not that terribly long, and like there are some fascinating sci-fi concepts in there that you will not see anything else. I mean, the second book is entirely a philosophical debate between one character and another, which is kind of like a debate between God and the devil for like the entire book. It's just on another planet. It's just very, very, very cool. And like the ultimate conclusion of the way that he decides to solve the conflict is something that even to this day I feel like is like one of the most shocking and amazing endings I've ever read to anything. So I absolutely recommend that anybody reads them. I think I am a fanboy though. I am an absolute C.S. Lewis fanboy. I mean, even though I don't really think you mentioned Mere Christianity the other day. Mere Christianity is not one of the books of his that I particularly find to be. I think the Four Loves is the book I would recommend to people more than anything else amongst his nonfiction work. I think the Four Loves is an amazing sociological work, and I also think the Problem with Pain is pretty interesting in itself too. But yeah, but Mere Christian is the one that people talk about the most. But it's not right. It's far from being my favorite.
Oh, Jeff. So I know you mentioned earlier sort of AD&D adventure modules. I actually have a few of they basically did these conversions of AD&D adventure modules into 5th edition. It's like all third-party stuff. It's not official, but like
it's not the original modules.
Well, no. It has I have this one Into the Borderlands. If you're familiar with that one, Caves of Chaos.
Keep on the Borderlands.
Is it based on
which was actually Basic Edition? It wasn't AD&D.
It was. That was a slightly different version, but yeah,
that was the intro module that came with the box set.
Yeah, and it has the first half of the book is just a reprint of the original module, and then the second half is that module, but like all the mechanics are adjusted for 5th edition D&D. Which is actually like super interesting. They have like a bunch of them because they have like there's the one where it has like the crashed spaceship that you go into.
Expedition to Barrier Peaks.
Barrier Peaks, that's the one. There's hang on. It's in the back of here, and I have it like tucked away somewhere. I just can't remember the name. They had what was it? What was it called? It was the one where you go to like the islands. You go to these like jungle islands or whatever.
Isle of Dread.
Isle of Dread, yeah, and it has some mildly problematic depictions, but you know, it is like what it is.
It has dinosaurs.
It does have dinosaurs, and those are great. No, it just has.
What was the problematic depiction?
The depiction of the natives. It's a little.
Oh my god!
No, look, I'm not saying. Thing. Okay, look, I'm not saying that you.
Woke.
Yeah, that's why. I'm not saying that like it's like some like evil bad thing that they did. Like it relies on some stereotypes, which is in my estimation a little lazy, but like that's fine. I don't really care that much, and it's D&D. I can make changes to things that I don't like.
And our brains do rely on stereotypes themselves.
I mean, no. I'm not like saying that it's like. In fact, the Isle of Dread, like it's apparently it's not problematic enough for me to not read, enjoy, and have run a game in that setting.
Right.
Like I'm just acknowledging the stereotypes that I do find to be mildly problematic, but like it's not like I'm not making a big deal out of it.
I know. I see. Like I kind of see things like that. Like I see issues like that when people bring stuff up. Like well, it's kind of stereotypical. That's that. I see that as an opportunity though, from a storyteller or a creative standpoint to create something that basically breaks out of that stereotype. That because if you have a mold like that, that gives you a good chance to play against it. Like I'm saying, like there's you could say that there's advantages to that because it gives you a chance to break out from that accepted kind of idea and into something more interesting, just because you have a contrast of the stereotype versus the character you create.
There's nothing problematic about it. That's a generational
and even more than that. Like I mean, okay, so like I just as an example in the world that I'm building, my like Bronze Age society. One of my sort of civilizations is the city-state of Rhodes, which I heavily took from Athens to sort of things because it's a democracy, right? It's a Athenian style democracy, though I made some slight changes, like that they do have, that they don't have. I just got rid of, gender distinctions. You don't have to just be a male landowning citizen to vote in the society. Everyone who's a citizen can vote, but that doesn't mean that like I made a perfect society. In fact, I intentionally made it to where there's problems in that, like the democracy they have, it's not perfect. Wealthier people have more of influence in that democracy because that's how wealth and power works, and there's like, different like systems that aren't necessarily like things that we would consider good, but like that I world built in, like, what's one of the they fucking colonize areas, like they've set up colonies and stuff. They've ethnically cleansed areas and of its indigenous populations. I have no problem with like depicting that. It's just
I keep thinking like again because I was looking around for other other like kind of like worlds and stuff that people have built and stuff like that, and it's a goddamn crime to me that there aren't more like the story bases or whatever we call them, like worlds
settings.
built around settings that aren't based out of Celtic mythology. I just think,
Yeah.
goddamn, Celtic mythology is the most underused and most interesting mythology of all of them. Even Lewis made that same point, and yet he never wrote anything based in that world either. I mean, like Celtic mythology is so fascinating. The whole concept of the 12th of Daonan and like just like the whole like their whole like the just everything about it. I've read so much of Celtic mythology, and it's like just the best. There's so much story in it too. Like there's so many twists and stuff like that, and it really like it kind of breaks every kind of stereotype of mythology too. Like it doesn't like I mean, yeah, there's stuff in it that people would probably say is like whatever racist or whatever this that. But
sure, but
it'll be something that the very next like story will go the other direction. It's never boring, and it's never it can be kind of hard to get into because it's dense. But man, like it's such good mythology. I'm surprised that more people haven't like caught on to that or like delved into that for source material, because it's like it's right there and it's free. I mean, like it's like.
I mean, I know I always try and like I always make an effort to like learn more about like different mythologies and different cultures, just basically so I can steal aspects of them for use in story building, because
that's cultural appropriation.
Absolutely,
people have mined Norse mythology, and Norse mythology and Celtic mythology have some similarities. Although I think the Celtic stuff is, but I've never even seen like any Marvel superhero shit, using like the Celtic shit and everything. I just think that's weird. Is there still like Irish racism? I don't know.
Well, I mean, there is to a certain extent an issue with like Irish culture and Irish history kind of being erased to a certain degree.
By the Catholics, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more groups than just the Catholics, because the Catholics, they are one of them, but like the British kind of just broadly.
They didn't do it the longest anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the Catholics did a lot of that, especially early on.
St. Patrick chasing the snakes out of Ireland had nothing to do with actual snakes,
Yes, no, I'm aware. I actually, when I was in, oh god, now this will just solidify how bougie I grew up. The school I went to, basically the 7th through 12th grade, we had a house system. We were all divided into 4 houses, and kind of like Harry Potter, yeah. And I was in the best house, Columba, and then like they were all like named after saints.
I knew it.
Because there was Boniface, Athanasius, Becket, and then Columba. Columba. Yeah. Do you all know who Saint Columba was?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of. I don't know much. I've heard the name before.
He was an Irish priest who basically had a bit of a temper, and one of his temper tantrums caused a battle that caused something like 3,000 people to die. And so, as penance, he was exiled from Ireland, and he took it upon himself. He was like, all right, my now goal in life is to save as many souls as I killed. So him and 12 of his friends went to the Isle of Iona, which is in off of Scotland. They built an abbey, and he basically proselytized to and converted a lot of the Scottish Picts to Christianity. It's the whole
at sword point probably, but yeah.
Oh yeah, no, 110% at sword point. Obviously all of the like myths and stuff is like, oh, he laid down the symbol of the cross at the gate and the gate swung open, and I mean it's like
Probably not.
No, I think what happened was he I mean, not to say that, like, actually there is some evidence to suggest that Columba was actually genuinely not so much a pacifist, but I guess what would have passed for a pacifist back then, due to like when he lived in Ireland, that was like his whole thing was like he was a priest, but like he was also the son of a noble, so like he was very involved in politics and a lot of violence, and basically after that battle that he caused, apparently the shame was enough that he did allegedly swear off violence. I don't think that necessarily means that he or nobody in his name didn't do violence, but
I'm sure it was fine.
I mean, okay, it was an Irishman colonizing England.
So we did one little genocide, okay? Just like one. I mean, come on, everybody makes mistakes. Jeez.
Yeah.
Everybody's a critic these days. Everybody's so woke.
Everyone's so woke. All I did was slaughter a bunch of people in this town, okay? Come on, guys. They're barely people.
I mean, I was young, I just didn't know any better.
God.
Still technically younger.
Okay. Yes, the checks.
Just one little genocide, guys. Like, come on. Like, let's not make a big deal out of this. It's just like, these things happen.
Yeah, like, absolutely. I think the propaganda definitely softened probably a lot of the things that Columba did.
Very similar to the Catholic Church's response to, like, whenever all the boy fucking shit came out. It's kind of like, what do you expect? I mean, where else are they gonna get fucked? I mean, like, geez,
God.
Like, what do you think? You think we're perfect over here? We're all sinners and everything, some of us, different ways than others, I mean, hey.
That's always the funniest thing I have with, like, at least Catholics who, like, kind of deny the really badness of what the Catholic Church does in regards to the way they deal with their priests being child molesters, because like those same people will be like, oh, you're going to hell because of you're gay, and then I'll just be like, yo, like I bet you your priest has diddled kids. How much you want to fucking bet?
I mean, to be fair, I do think a large majority of priests have probably not diddled kids.
No. Yeah, I absolutely. But they absolutely run cover for those who do.
There are certainly enough of them.
Yeah, and the ones at the top run cover for the bad apples.
Which has been like literally admitted to at this point. So
yeah,
it's just.
Yeah, actually,
it's not like, people were making jokes about it for eons before it, anything. I mean, it's kind of one of those revelations that felt very much like the Edward Snowden thing, like we were talking about last night too. It was like it's kind of one of those things where it's like didn't we already all know this was happening? Like, you didn't have a problem with it back then, but now because like it's in a newspaper, you care. Like, I mean, like it was like cultural knowledge. Like everyone just kind of like knew that happened, and it was like a joke, like altar boy, ha ha ha, kind of thing.
For what it's worth, it's not a uniquely Catholic thing. Broadly, churches in general,
definitely not. It's not uniquely Catholic.
Religious organizations have this problem. Yeah, I mean it's just it's what happens whenever you give someone basically the authority of God. Like a number of them will absolutely abuse that trust that they're given.
I mean, and it's not, and once again, it's one of those things where like they really don't. There is no, like, I'm sure a lot of them felt a lot of guilt about it. I'm sure a lot of them were very conflicted and felt real bad about it. It doesn't really change the fact that they were still raping children, but at the same time, I mean, it's one of those things where like you gotta it's like Yeah, they can be conflicted about it. I've heard a lot of people being like, but like they weren't. It's not like they were like happy about it. I was like, well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but like that's not the issue. Isn't that I think that they were gleefully doing it. The issue is that they did it.
I mean, if they were gleefully doing it, I'd almost have more respect for it. Fuck.
Yeah, like man, at least you're being honest.
I mean, yeah, you're being a monster, but you're openly being a monster, not a monster with feelings.
Or a monster and trying to hide it, like I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's one of those things that like, I mean, I'm like I said, like my family was both like my family history is really complicated when it comes to Catholic Church because it was both like kind of murdered by and saved by the Catholics. So like like my great grandfather was like was a doctor that was working against the fascist regime in Spain, and like he was executed for that, and then but he hid my grandmother and great grandmother in a convent, and like so that like saved their lives and.
Yeah,
It's just like a whole like thing, but we just say being anti-Catholic and anti-fascist are both kind of in my blood, but
yeah, that's fair. That's fair and valid. I mean, hey, look, all right, the Spanish anti-fascist movements were dope as hell. Even George Orwell went and he went to during the Spanish Civil War. He went and threw some grenades at fascists. Unfortunately, he then turned out to be like a huge narc, but
Well, isn't that the same like as the anti-racist, like being anti-white people today for what happened hundreds of years ago, being anti-Catholic? The Catholics are not doing that today.
Doing what today?
What you're anti-Catholic about, like slaughtering your family?
Oh yeah, I mean it's more of a historical thing. I mean I'm not. I just like I find the Catholic religion to be the worst of all the Christian religions, to be honest. But
why? I grew up Catholic. It was mostly harmless. Like there was nothing.
No, it's mostly is. It's just that
it wasn't. It wasn't like fire and brimstone and going to hell.
No, and I don't like those versions of it either. It's just they took what like the basic message of Christ, which is actually a message that I think most people, even like non-theistic people, can mostly get behind, and they turned it into this very theistic, very like very personality centric and very like I know it's like where everything has to go to the church. Like it becomes like this. They basically pervert
the Catholic I grew up with.
They perverted the message of Christ though into turning it into a different thing, in my opinion. But
my issue is just kind of broadly the dogmatism of Catholic, which is, for what it's worth, extends to basically every organized religion. I'm broadly opposed to religious dogmatism, just principally.
I mean, the whole dogmatism thing, like where like basically like because Jesus said like upon this rock I shall build my church, that means that Peter was the first pope. It's right there in the Bible. You can't refute it. Like what the fuck? Like I mean, yeah, it could mean that, I guess, if you squint your eyes the right way, but it doesn't really like it just doesn't pass the smell test for me either. Like I mean, I don't know. Like I mean, I think there's something. I do consider myself more or less a Christian, and I do. I mean, I believe in the sense that I believe in Christ, and I believe in it, and my version of it is maybe a little weird and heretical to a lot of people. So I understand like if some people think that my feelings of the Catholic Church is heresy to some degree, it certainly is to Catholics, but I do think that most Catholics in themselves, most Catholic people are very good people that most of what I've met and known. I have no issue with Catholics in general. Just the organization of the Catholic Church is what I have an issue with. I just think that like they took something that was had a fairly good purity to it and kind of perverted it into something that they used for power and influence. They corrupted it, and that's how I feel about it. But I mean that's going back a long time. Like the Catholic Church as it exists now is a mostly facile, like kind of like dying entity that really has very little power. So I mean, I guess they still have their own city that has that is.
I've been to Vatican City actually. It's an interesting place.
I bet it is. I mean, I've always wanted to.
It's a beautiful. I love the cathedral there. Oh my God, you look up and you see at the top of the ceiling inside. There's these. It's a phrase that's like made in gold that like rings the ceiling, and it's like it's really tiny. But then like in reality, those letters are like 7 feet tall. So it's one of those. I love cathedrals. Cathedrals are like fantastic architectural things. Like, I love them.
Although it's one of the situations where, like, you could definitely see how they probably could have fed a lot of those poor people.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But then again, no great work of civilization seems to exist without some degree of slavery and or even suffering involved in it. Like, there's this amazing Wonder Shows and sketch. It's like 10 seconds long too, but it's like this little song. I don't know if you ever heard of Wonder Shows. It was a show on MTV2 that was like a perverted children's show. It had like puppets, and like they would just have like really like insane, like really like a nonsense absurdist kind of things. One of them was like this song where it was like, slaves built America, slaves built the pyramids, slaves built, I can't remember, there's like 3 or 4 other things it mentions. It says, thank you, slaves.
Oh God, I love that kind of stuff.
It's so, I mean, it's so absolutely true is the thing. It's like, it's a show that's literally just about uncomfortable truths is what the show is about more than anything, and it's absolutely worth seeking out. It's on my Plex server. I'll give you access to the Plex server if you want. I've given it to Jeff and Jack and other people. So if you'd like access to it, let me know. I'll give you a link.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I might absolutely hijack and use that. I might fucking hijack and use that to show a bunch of this stuff to my polycule, because that sounds right up our fucking alley.
Oh yeah, if you've never seen, if you guys like, if you have that sense of humor, yeah, you guys would will like love Wonder Shows, and it's there is one episode, and you're at the end of the second season that I showed to Jack and another friend of mine on Discord. That is like it's got like David Cross. I mean, this has got like a who's who of good comedians in it. Okay, like David Cross. You've got I can't remember any of the names now. I want to say Patton Oswalt's in there, in addition to a whole bunch of other people. But the whole thing is a straight up, I got quote unquote parody of Hee Haw. But the parody part is that all they do is say racist things. It's just like this like savage. It's like this savage takedown of the whole Hee Haw, like good old country bumpkin thing, where like every single joke is about them fucking their sister and being racist about, and it's just like, oh my God, and it's like hilarious and uncomfortable and just so very it's transgressive in a transcendent way. I'll say that.
Have y'all seen Kunk on Earth?
What on Earth?
I love Kunk.
Kunk on Earth.
Yeah. She's a
Kunk, C-U-N-K. It's her last name. Yeah,
she's a British comedian that does this thing where she like plays this character where she's like the dumbest woman alive, I guess, basically.
Yeah,
but it's amazing. It's just amazing. It's like the world viewed through the eyes of a slightly mentally handicapped 3-year-old. Like,
the Egyptians believed the most important thing you could do in your life was die. I love it. I need to go back and rewatch it. It's on Netflix, unfortunately. It's kind of freaking frustrating. Hey, we can talk about that. Fuck Netflix.
Do you not sell the high seas, my friend?
Oh no! I do. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. I'll have to go and actively get it.
I've got this friend you should meet. His torrent.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, so like most of the time, I usually just stream it, because I honestly, if I were to like download stuff, I would lose all of them so fast. And
that's why I created my Flex server. It was just a way to archive and keep everything easily accessible and stuff like that. I don't use it. I mean, I still have a ton of movies on there too, but it's I mostly started for television shows, because television shows really do kind of disappear after a while. Like, for streaming services pick them up after they get canceled these days, there's a chance like Wonder Shows, and you can't find it anywhere. Like the original Upright Citizens series, I've got that out there. You can't find it anywhere. I mean, if you don't sail the high seas to find it, you're never going to see it.
Yeah.
You know,
STC made a comment. Orwell was a narc. What do you mean? Basically, Orwell, British socialist-y kind of dude. Basically, he as a socialist in Britain, he was a part of many of the socialist sort of communities, and basically he sold out a bunch of the socialists who the British government was attempting to jail because Britain also loved doing their own version of McCarthyism. Now, admittedly, some of these people were arrested because of their involvement, their alleged involvement with the USSR. However, I'm not necessarily like, given the time period that this happened, which was like I think it was like the 40s to the 50s. I'm not, necessarily convinced by the British government saying, yes, these were absolutely foreign agents, when in reality, a lot of them were probably just socialists who the British government didn't like and wanted to get rid of.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Don't get me wrong. And at the time, like, socialism was the new hotness to be upset about at the time. So
yeah, and so like I like
on that train. So it's kind of hard to. I'm not saying you can't criticize it. It's totally criticizable. Still, it's one of those things that, like,
yeah.
No, like when you had Stalin over there representing socialism, really easy to understand how you could, like, get kind of upset about that, because he was murdering people by the million. So
absolutely. And like, and even when it comes to like Orwell wasn't like a narc in the sense that he was like a fucking Fed who was like actually and secretly anti-socialist. No, he was an anti-Stalinist. Like that's what he was, and so that's why he was willing to work with the British government to do these things. But then again, he's also, it's undoubtable that a number of people who weren't actually USSR sleeper agents, got caught in the crossfire, and I think that's kind of shitty of Orwell.
It's weird how many people how many authors in that time period had, like, weird, like, that Roald Dahl was an MI6 agent.
I did not know that. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Hang on.
Roald Dahl was a spy.
That was Christopher Marlowe in the 16th century.
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah, I remember reading that one before too. Yeah.
What? I mean, I guess it's not that can like of a much of a insane revelation, but like still, I don't know. I just, yeah. There's a lot of people like that.
I think it's really cool. He was kind of a badass. He was like the kind of like the seduction kind of spy. He would like go. He would like he would cozy up to like rich heiress types and stuff like that, and get information on their husbands and stuff like that. His spying was basically just fucking anything that he could.
Hell yeah, that's based. Based spycraft.
At the same time, he was like his like. I don't think he started writing children's books until after his. I remember if it was concurrent or not. But it would be more badass if it was concurrent. If the cover for him being like this
IRL James Bond, let's go.
I think it was more like the opposite. I think he did that for when he was younger, and then like when he got older, so for some reason he thought, hey, I got a great idea. I'll write books for children. So he probably bothered enough of them over the years. So I guess he
had to give back somehow. And he was a writer, so he definitely couldn't give back monetarily.
Right. Well, I think he did get paid for his spy work, but you couldn't admit to that because it wasn't like
Yeah.
It was not like it wasn't like something that you couldn't just go out and just be like, oh yeah, I make money off of being a spy.
Yeah.
Another really cool history thing I'll just mention real fast, and this is unrelated, but one of the coolest little history factoids I've ever like read about or researched is the friendship / rivalry between one Henry Houdini and Arthur Conan Doyle.
Oh, I think I remember
Arthur Conan Doyle being like the man who invented Sherlock Holmes and was all about logic and like finding and like finding the most through logic and deduction solving crimes, was a hardcore spiritualist that believed in seances and all this stuff. And Houdini, the magician, was a hardcore like realist that was constantly arguing with his friend and trying to get him to abandon all this stupid spiritualist nonsense, and it created a rift between them that turned into like a weird feud. And like, isn't that just one of the most fascinating things you've ever heard? I mean,
It is, and it's one of those things that like knowing
how
that
how have they not made a movie of that? How have they
well,
not made a
okay,
movie?
so the movie Sherlock Holmes is actually kind of funny because I don't know it I don't think it's necessarily influenced by that aspect specifically, but like it's really cool how like I don't know if y'all have seen the Sherlock Holmes movie, the one with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I've seen both. Yeah.
Yeah. The it's really cool how I mean, they do kind of like have that sort of occult spiritualist aspect that they just kind of completely annihilate, which is kind of funny. I don't know. I loved that movie. Both of them actually were really funny. Fun.
No, I think that. I mean, there are elements in both of their work. I mean, there's elements in both. In even Houdini stuff was more like like doing these stunts kind of thing. At the same time, he did speak to his audiences too, and like he would talk about about how he was these were simply illusions. These were things that were all within the realm of human ability, and these were not magical things. And he was very open about that. Whereas, on the other hand, like in Arthur Conan Doyle's work, he would write and actually incorporate, like, despite all the logic, there was a lot of like kind of like subtle mysticism in a lot of his writing, and so like it was like it's just so. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just like one of those things. It's just like what? How did that? First of all, how did like these two people become friends? How do they know each other, and how are they mirror opposites of one another? It's just so bizarre to think of Harry Houdini and Arthur Conan Doyle being like really. I mean, and they were close friends. They were people that spent a lot of time with each other, like brothers, and that they would. And all the things to separate them was the fact that Houdini was a hardcore like realist that believed in the material world, and Arthur Conan Doyle, the man who wrote about like the logical and like the and solving mysteries through like the power of deduction, he was the one who was into crazy spiritualist seance shit, and that was like the separating factor. That's just like that is like you can't. It's like you can't write it. If you wrote that as a script, like without those characters being like real people will laugh at you and say like, "Well, this is too obvious." You're doing a bad job of writing this. Like it just doesn't sound. It doesn't sound plausible, and even as a fiction, but it really happened. I find so. I used to work for Crack.com, and like that's pretty much all I did was research cool shit like that. That was like one of the best jobs like ever. Like I was a contract worker, but I used to work for but Cracked.com, even though it's kind of a clickbait site now. It used to be actually, honestly, our journalistic standards were much higher than you see in most major newspapers. Honestly.
Oh yeah. No, I absolutely
we were
that.
very, very well sourced with all of our articles, and we weren't allowed to like just source from like one random website, and we weren't even allowed to use like sites like HuffPo and shit for sources. We had to use accredited sources for all of our shit. They were very hardcore about the stuff, and like they really kept a high degree of journalistic standards for it, and like so like anything you see from back in like those from like I guess going back like 4 years prior, like anything there's kind of like there's a period there where like any articles that published in that period you're generally going to get like good information from them. Like there might be jokes in there, but the information is going to be good.
Yeah.
Because I know from experience how rigorous they were with that shit. Because like I got like like fact checked on shit like a few times that I thought I was solid on, and then like they pointed out like, well, no, it's like this, and this, and I was like, holy fuck, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like they were good. I mean, yeah, I'm really. It's sad. It's sad to me that what happened to that website and that company. But
no, that's fair. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, there's not quite as much journalistic integrity in the world broadly as there should be. So it is always kind of sad when you sort of see the little spark of it, just kind of get snuffed out. While CNN and Fox just
exist. They just got bought and sold like 3-4 times in a very short period of time. Like each new owner basically fired most of the staff until there was nobody left. Yeah. And the thing that was cool about Craft when I started working for them, that they had this really open open community forum where like you could like basically join the community and start talking to other potential writers, and you start like collaborating on ideas, and and in the message boards, and like the people that actually were like the editors of the site would talk to you, and so you could pitch something in the forums, and like you were guaranteed to get a response. You didn't get ignored. They would come back and tell you like, no, you have to do it like this. This is what you're doing wrong. This is how you need to format this if you want this to work, that sort of thing. So it was like they were really instructive and helpful, and just like, I mean, it was run in a way that like I would want to run like the other stuff I've talked about. Like, I mean, like it was really, really good. I mean, I'm proud of like the articles that I published there in the time I worked for them. I almost got hired as like one of their primary researchers, but then I didn't, and then they got sold like the next week, and then they fired everybody, so it would have mattered anyway. But
yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. Actually, I did actually want to say this. Do you do you want to like do character creation like on stream sometime? Like,
sure, yeah.
Cut out a section of time for us to.
Wait! As soon as we figure out what world we're gonna do, like I just want to know what world we're in, and then I'll be happy to hear from there. Like, and I'll let you guys pick. I don't really care. I was just asking questions because I'm new to it. Like I said, I've always wanted to get involved in one of these like kind of things.
Yeah.
But then every time the timing was always off. It was always one of these things where like, it's like my group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we used to do that like last year. It kind of fell apart, and then then I would move away or something, and then like another group of friends I was with like starts doing it, like I start reading about it on Facebook or whatever, So it's like I was always like just like that. I was always the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of thing. That. So I just I'm excited to do it. That's the reason why I ask questions, just because like I'm just excited in general. But
actually,
just you guys just pick like setting you want to go through, and I'll
what I can do is if we want to it actually probably might just be better to use one of the, I guess, official 5e books, especially considering, Chris is newer to role-playing games in general, and Jeff is newer to 5e. We can probably use one of those settings just to give y'all a little bit more of an official sort of setting to ground yourselves in. I can do like a write-up of like, hey, here's our 3 options for settings, and here's like a little 1 or 2 paragraph little blurb about the vibe, and like what the setting is, and y'all can basically pick which one, and then whichever one y'all pick, that's the one I'll go with. Just because I want to give y'all some agency in like what y'all want to play in, right?
It doesn't matter to me. Should we do practice characters in the meantime?
Yeah, you can. If you find that helps you, you absolutely can.
I mean, it might help Chris. I don't need it, but it might help Chris.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, and we don't have to do this on stream either. We can just like do this whenever we're all and anyone and me is on the Discord. I can like help walk y'all through, especially your first characters. Because like I know people can oftentimes get stuck in sort of decision paralysis. Like there are a lot of options, so I think it can be helpful to sort of have someone there to help talk you through things and make them more clear. Because just reading the book might not, give a full picture and understanding of what you're like the decisions you're making.
Hey guys, I got a phone call real fast. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Phone call.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with anything. Like I can wait for your setting. I can do a prefab setting.
Yeah. And actually, in addition to this, who else do we want to include in this? Actually,
that's a good point. How big do you think the party should be?
So my ideal is 4 players. If you can think of 5 people in total, I think 5 is like my max. But 4 is really where I think it we can create a cohesive story.
Well, we could put out a message in the Discord and
that is true.
We can recruit. Because last time I tried that, I didn't get very many people. I didn't get anybody. So even if we pick up 1 or 2 more people.
Yeah, even just 1 or 2 more. Hell, I mean, you can do Run D&D with 3 people easy. 2 is a little harder, but like 3, is perfectly doable. 4 is like my, I guess, platonic ideal of a D&D party.
Okay. Are you playing a character or are you just DMing?
I'm just gonna be DMing. Yeah.
Okay, so we need 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I can start working on that too.
Yeah. And
feel free to make an announcement in the Discord if you want.
Yeah. I'll probably do something sometime today. I'm probably gonna get off stream at the turn of the hour. Go get some things done today. But yeah. And probably get started on this because
Okay.
I can. There's already like I mean the things the ones that I know that I like I think would be good. There's one called the Ghosts of Saltmarsh Lake.
Oh, I'm familiar with Saltmarsh. That was an old Money trilogy.
Yeah. There's an official 5e sort of version of it. And it can be, and actually they have that setting to where you can set it in Faerun, you can set it in Greyhawk, you can set it in Eberron, like they sort of make it, I guess, generic enough that you can put it in any of those settings. Like I would just default to Faerun just because that's the one I'm most familiar with. Though if like you particularly want to do Greyhawk, I can do some reading into Greyhawk and like.
I know it is a Greyhawk setting, but that's not going to throw me because that was like 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. We can do Faerun.
I can roll with whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, Faerun isn't. I mean, while many variations of Faerun tend to be more high magic, I tend to. When I run Faerun, I usually tone down the high magic a bit. Usually, I'll like, not in like a player character. Like obviously, player characters you could all be wizards for all I care. But like, more like limiting access to other high level casters or high level magic items to buy, you'd really only get those on adventures, that kind of stuff. Is kind of how I do it. Is like I love high fantasy in the sense of like an adventure, but as far as like the world as a whole, I like to usually tone down the high fantasy just to keep things more in a more realistic realm. Because I don't know, in sort of generic Faerun, there's like there are 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th level wizards in every city, and it's like, that's a little much.
And Saltmarsh wasn't that high fantasy anyway.
No.
What was the other one you had?
So there's another one called Curse of Strahd.
Oh, I've heard of that one. That's the vampire one.
It is the vampire one. Yeah. And that one actually is kind of a little unique because it doesn't take place on the material plane. It takes place in a pocket dimension called Barovia.
Is it Ravenloft or is it?
It's Ravenloft. Yeah. It's Ravenloft.
I'm more inclined to go with Saltmarsh just because of the Greyhawk.
Yeah, and I love
the more traditional fantasy setting.
Yeah,
and I want to. If we're gonna do this, I think I'm gonna try to get that demon game going too. And if we do that, that's already set in the world of darkness anyway.
Yeah. No,
this will give us some variety.
Yeah, no, I like it. I enjoy the Ghost of Saltmarsh, and the way they have it set up is actually really cool because instead of the way they set up the Ghost of Saltmarsh adventure, instead of it being a more like linear adventure, it's just like a collection of dungeons and adventures that you basically populate the world with, and then you sort of like can either let your players direct themselves or you can direct them, in the way that you want, which I kind of like. I kind of like not being like forced to, because there's other books like God, what's it called again? Where the fuck is it? Not Tales from the Yawning Portal. Oh, Waterdeep, the dragon heists and stuff. That's more of a traditional linear adventure, and I'm not a huge fan of super linear adventures. I like allowing player choice to sort of make wide changes to the adventure in the world, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. What did you say it was called?
Ghosts of Saltmarsh.
Ghost. Oh, is that the? I'm looking at it now. It's like an anthology of the original models. One of those super modules.
Yep. They basically have like, it all takes place in the area of Saltmarsh, and they just basically I just basically populate the map with the adventures, and then direct y'all however it goes. It's actually pretty cool. I actually kind of appreciate that kind of stuff.
Well, I'll dust off my old Greyhawk stuff too.
Hell yeah.
Material on Saltmarsh.
Yeah, and actually, while so if on 5e tools they have the Ghost of Saltmarsh, like all of that stuff, and there's a lot of that which is spoilers for stuff, but like also there is a specific section. Let me see if I can find the chapter in here. I don't know where it is. Is it here? Have the Saltmarsh backgrounds. That's a part of it. There's usually like a players section of the book, that's for like, hey, if you want to, here's how to adapt this background to be more in line with this setting, like the acolytes, there's specific kind of acolytes that give you more Saltmarsh specific kind of things, which helps tie you to the geographical area you're in, which instead of it being like generic, like, oh, I'm just an acolyte of a thing, you're like, I'm an acolyte of this god who is widely worshipped in.
Yeah, I always like to assign my cleric to a specific god.
Oh yeah, always. I mean, that's a pretty. I mean, I guess not always. Like, actually, that's one of the beauties of 5e is that, especially like, I mean, when it comes to alignment doesn't really matter in like mechanically. It doesn't matter. There's no like mechanics that depend on. Well, I guess there's not no mechanics. There's very few mechanics that depend on alignment, and that's how I like it. I like alignment being a descriptive thing rather than prescriptive. You describe your character as lawful good because they do lawful good things, not I am lawful good, therefore I can only do these things.
It looks like it's set in Greyhawk too, instead of Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, I don't know if it has it in here. I know in the physical book, they have a little blurb, in it, which is like, this is default like set in Greyhawk, but you can basically just slightly adjust the names and it's in Faerun because there's nothing like, intrinsically.
Yeah, Greyhawk. It's not gonna make a difference because it's such a localized setting.
Yeah, and I mean, ideally, like most of y'all would probably have your characters be from the area, though that's not even necessarily the case. You could be an adventurer from somewhere else, and you just ended up in Greyhawk.
Are there any character restrictions?
Not for this setting. You can basically just build whatever you.
Well, maybe, yeah. Make an announcement and see if we can pull in two other players, and then maybe Chris and I can. Instead of doing practice characters, we can create characters with Saltmarsh in mind.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And also, like, you can, work with each other on, like, hey, I think our characters should have had a connection before the adventure, like that kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff. If you, have that in mind. Where the fuck should I put this? Maybe just in general?
Yeah. Oh, the announcement.
Let's put it in.
I guess maybe share your work or.
No, maybe share your work. Actually, probably.
I'm trying to keep the channels to a minimum, but I can't.
Yeah, no. I agree. It's share your work works actually.
Do we need a gaming channel? If we start gaming more, it might help to have it in its own channel.
That's true. However, I'll make the announcement just in the share your work, and then once we any further information, I'll put in the gaming channel.
All right, because I just made one. So.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right. Also, do we want to stream this? Do we want to stream the game?
We could try it.
Yeah, I mean,
you never know. Like people stream games all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going for the nerd crowd. Like this is our stream is what you would find in like the lobby of a college dormitory or something.
Yeah.
What it's becoming, and the conversations you would have, the gaming, the D&Ding, the movie watching. So it's kind of becoming a little college setting, and I like that.
I do too. I love
it.
It
would draw a particular audience.
Yeah. I do worry about something. Okay, so like what are limitations on like music and stuff? Like could I would that be possible to use music on a stream?
As long as it's not copyrighted, and Chris has a ton of tracks, so Chris might be able to put something together. That you
Okay,
can
yeah,
use.
I might talk to Chris and see if I can get some stuff.
It can't be copyrighted because I've already gotten a copyright warning for music that wasn't even copyrighted. So
yeah, I'll just talk to Chris and get some stuff from him. It's not like that big of a deal. I like using music to set settings and stuff, set tones and stuff. So it's okay.
In fact, I'm going to. There.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. Or organization. In your Discord server, not PF Young's.
It's not. I'm the steward of the. I thought about changing the name to Center Haven, like as a reference to Winter Haven.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep it as the Center Holds now. But no, I'm just the steward for our.
I'm sure.
Trying to keep the community together until the new Discord gets off the ground.
I'm sure.
But I'm still going to keep it as the Discord for this stream, so it's going to serve.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Purposes. I like that. It's good to have this kind of thing for the stream. It just allows people to come together and like create a community. Even though look, a lot of the community members are fucking nutso conspiracy theorists that don't know how to hold conversations, but
But I'm learning that conspiracy thinking is not limited to only the conspiracy theorists because it shows up in even
absolutely
people.
Conspiratorial thinking, I think, is just kind of broadly a human thing, and I think it's something that we all need to be wary of, because it's not always inherently bad. In fact, sometimes it's just a little bit of fun. But the thing is, like when you let that fun sort of start to creep in and like seriously affect your ability to rationally engage with stuff, right? Like I love talking to conspiracy theorists, because sometimes like we'll find some like common ground on like some of our rationality. They just sometimes will then be like, and it was the Jews' fault, and it's like, okay, all right, yeah, you almost had me.
We live in very different worlds. I don't. The psychology is so different from mine, conspiracy theorist.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I grew up around conspiracy theorists, so like.
Yeah, my best friend was like an Alex Jones level conspiracy theory, but it was isolated to that just one person, so I learned how to manage it with him, and all of a sudden they're like
everywhere,
left, right of me, everywhere I look.
Left, right, yeah. No, there's actually one of the things that like blows my fucking mind is like before like I guess really before the big anti-vax movement kind of took off, in the I want to say like the early 2000s. From my understanding, anti-vax was much more of a left position than a right one. Like,
was that the autism that like vaccines cause autism thing?
Yeah, the Andrew Wakefield vaccines cause autism. Yeah. That's kind of what pulled it into. That's pulled. I guess I think a lot of right wingers into it. There's actually H Bomber guy has a really interesting video on that topic, whether the vaccines cause autism stuff, and he. No, they don't. That's, I mean, it's interesting as in he goes into that one study that claims that vaccines cause autism and like breaks it down as to why explicitly it's full of shit. And it's actually like a really interesting thing. He uses the original source of a lot of that is Brian Deere, who did a lot of reporting on that and basically like kind of cracked the case on the ways in which the study was bullshit, which was actually a really interesting watch. He had a whole documentary on it, which is actually like an interesting watch. But yeah.
We got a conspiracy starting right now.
Oh, he's being banned. Oh no, Chris is getting banned.
There was an Illuminati role-playing game.
There's
GURPS that did it.
There's also Call of Cthulhu. I don't know if you're.
There's also Cult. The Cult is a Gnostic role-playing game.
Oh,
KULT.
Oh wait, no, I think I've heard of that. Oh my god, I've never like looked into it or played it, but I've heard of it.
I used to have the original edition. I think they updated it. But that's more like human. You play a human.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about your character.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of occult and demons and stuff like that. Okay, good. And then we need to pick a time to do that tabletop thing too.
Yes. So hang on. So today's Monday. Today's Monday. Do you want to? So for D&D, I guess we'll find like just like a once a week. It would probably just be like a once a week
a regular time.
Yeah. To do that for the board game. I mean, I'm down. So Wednesday nights is when I reserve for hanging out with my Wednesdays and Sundays.
Wednesday night's Survivor night for me.
So okay, yeah. Though broadly, I'm free other times, situation depending. So, I mean, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. Up to you.
Wednesday's out. What times of the day?
So basically any time. I prefer evenings. Evenings our time, rather than like mornings and stuff. But I'm not opposed to mornings. Just
I'm free Thursday after. Let's see, you're after 5. And then Friday we do our movies and usually do a live stream afterwards.
Yeah.
And then I'm free on weekends too.
So you wanna soft say Thursday? Give a soft Thursday 5 p.m. 5 p.m. PST, I guess, which is
let me pencil
8 CST.
Okay. Hey guys, sorry. I got a call from my internet provider. I have to like talk to them real fast. So I'm sorry.
No, okay, we'll end it because I got my group coming up, and Anton and I are doing that thing at 8.
It's the same, sir. It's the same. Okay. stated there was no ACP application.
Oh,
Check the website.
are you talking to us?
ACPbenefits.org.
Yeah.
Because like what I mentioned earlier.
Well, anyway, you guys have a good night.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later.
Good night.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Good night, man. Yeah, you have a good night, Jeff.
You too. Thanks a lot. Talk to
Bye.
you later too. Okay, that was our very exciting show for today. We have more planned for you tomorrow and the following weeks, like live Dungeons and Dragons games and movie discussions, possibly script reading, cold read on Chris's script, all kind of nerdy stuff. So if you miss college dorm life, just come hang out with us. It's continuing on this stream. All right, let me find our song. I forgot what song I played. All right, here we go. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, 2 p.m. And tonight, I'll be back with Anton at 8 p.m. Central. We're doing our social justice series, and I think it's going to be on. We might do some TikToks, but we're going to focus on the Daily Wire, and they have a couple of movies coming out, and their attempt to position themselves as like a counterculture content and media creator, like operation. So we'll see what that's about. So anyway, 8 o'clock here tonight with Anton, and 2 p.m. tomorrow for our next show, and that's Central Time. Take care. Oh wait, let me check this. Well, yeah, kind of, sort of. We had Liberty on here earlier, and we talked about that. And I'm neither one, so he can. If you come on tomorrow, he can like get into the nuances of what makes one what and the other. Because I'm against all of it. So, but thanks for stopping by. We were wrapping up, but we're here every day at 2 p.m. Central, so we'll be back tomorrow. And tonight, I'm doing a special series with Anton on social justice, and that's going to be at 8 p.m. Central. It's taking way more rights and freedoms. No, yeah, I agree. Absolutely. This right here, what Sarah Connor said. Very based. So, yes. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's the best way to see when we're on, because other than our daily stream, we do some evening streams and some random other streams sometimes. So that'll let you know when those show up. So cool. Well, yeah, drop by tomorrow and we can get more into this, hop on the stream, and Liberty can explain it to you better than I can. And have a good rest of your day, and everybody else too. See you later.